We're live. Okay, I'm sitting. Normally, I do the podcast where I intro afterwards. Everybody who watches knows that. But today,
I'm going to do the intro first.
Today, I'm sitting with Avi Fishoff, not Rabbi Avi Fishoff. He tells
Not
me
a
to
rabbi.
say not a rabbi. Avi Fishoff, and I want to tell you, the person I've been chasing to have a pod. Not that you said no, but we were chasing to make this happen for 2 years, and the reason that for me is so important to have you here is because there are very few people that I relate to more in this field that I feel like have gone and have said their beliefs for over 2 decades, said them no matter if they were liked or disliked. This is something that I've done. You've gone against the grain, even much more than me, but I'm saying the idea, and no matter what it was, you stuck to your principles, and it's such a machaya to sit with somebody because I know firsthand how incredibly difficult it is to stick to what works and what you see works, no matter what's coming at you. And I'll say this, I asked the audience, like Avi Fishoff is coming on, what questions you have.
Oh, really?
And we'll hit you up with some of those questions.
Oh, surprise.
I'll give you the summary of the questions.
Surprise.
And right off the bat, it was like full of and full anger. Like it had everything. So
much love to those who love me.
Yes.
And the ones who hate me need even more love.
They need much more love.
They need a lot of love.
Right.
I didn't know that there's any haters.
You know.
Does somebody really?
All right. Well, we'll get to it.
Right.
But
what are they? I want their questions.
Should we start there?
Yeah, we should start with the haters.
We'll start there.
For sure.
But before that.
Yeah, we should definitely start with the haters. Also, I want to do an introduction.
Okay, well, that's the last 2 things I'll say, and then you could introduce if you want.
Yeah.
But the last 2 things I want to say is, first of all, like, subscribe, and follow. That's usually in the subscriptions. So if you're one of Avi's fans and you don't know who I am, go and follow. That's
You're about to find out when I start talking.
You're about to find out. And on top of that, in honor of Twisted Parenting, I am sitting in the other seat today. So if you're usually seeing my profile the other way, this happened accidentally,
twisted.
but we decided to keep it because
we're going twisted.
We're doing twisted podcasting.
Ooh,
twisted
podcasting.
Twisted. You'll brand it.
Yeah, that's nice.
There'll be a TM after this by the end.
Nice.
Hello and welcome to the Brainstorm podcast. And now your host, Sonny Perlman.
Nice.
All right, so
I want to do an intro.
Avi.
I want to do an intro. First of all, you really took the words out of my. It's really kamayim hapanim lepanim. Since I'm in this field, 23 years, we have been consistent. Like I always say, you're like a brother from another mother, and you've been consistent in being a voice of understanding and reason. Literally saving the lives of, you can't even count. I'm in the presence of godless. And godless doesn't always look the way some people like the gadol pictures. This is a gadol hadar. Rav Moshe Feinstein writes that in a time of crisis, a tzaddik could perhaps, from his chusim, save himself. But a mazaka of the rabbim, someone who helps the tzibur, can save the klal. Has much more power to save the klal. As an asken who is a mazaka of the rabbin, you help hundreds and hundreds of people from the darkest of the dark of addiction and pain and trauma, consistently working for the klal, for the tzibur, uplifting people, saving lives. You have a tremendous koyach tefillah. So I want to begin by asking you for a bracha.
That's what we're starting with. Okay.
Yeah, and you know what? I want for the podcast for your listeners
switching
to
it around on me.
No, because I want people to understand that we're living in a funny world. You could see somebody who's not dressed like you would imagine a gadol hadar, who's walking in your midst, who's a gadol hadar, who Hashem says that you can break the gzeiros that Hashem makes. There's a tremendous amount of power that you have, and it's very, very beautiful how humble you are. I would say, I don't know how many people know you as long as I do. I'm sure you have people, but in this field, Sani is humble and Sani is a gadol. And we all have to learn from people who have experience, but the humility that you have. And also, I remember years ago in Home Sweet Home, there were 5 kids. 5 kids. I don't know if you remember this. There were
I don't know
5
the end. I
kids
remember
that
the
I said,
5
Sonny,
kids.
I don't feel that I can take under my shelter, and your wings are much bigger than mine. You have you cast a greater shadow of the people that you can uplift. And I was so impressed at how you were able to have so much love and compassion. And for people that I felt like I had reasons, I don't want to say it on camera, what they were. And you were like, no, take them. And I even told you at one time, open a Home Sweet Home and I'll fund you.
Yeah.
Remember that?
Yeah,
About 20 years
do
ago.
it.
You do it. I said, I'm giving you 5 guys. I already have 5 guys. Start it. But what you've done through our place and then through our village, the boys and the men and the women, there's nobody like you in Klal Yisrael. And I mean it seriously, and I don't flatter people. I have nothing to gain. But I've always, whenever I run out of road and I have a question, especially if it's dealing with heavy drugs and stuff like that, I always tell the parents, you have to get another opinion from someone who has more experience than me with this level. And I said, I never like to trap anybody. Use my guy. I don't say that. So use anybody you want. But if you want to know who I value, it's Sani. And that's why I don't think I have anybody else in the world. I have parents that will do a conversation, will have you involved, and you'll say continue or stop. And it's always been continue.
Yeah.
But it's very rare. I mean, how many people are out there that if I get stuck, I remember like 2 times, maybe 3, that I got stuck with something and I called Shimon Russell. He was like, and you see the godless also, that like somebody gets stuck in a TWiST in the middle of whatever, and he goes to Rosh Hashiva and the Rosh Hashiva is right away there with clarity, that guy's holding, and in 2 or 3 times maximum that I really got stuck and I called Shimon and boom, I got the answer.
Right.
It was like clarity. So the Shimon, and I remember when Shimon was training people at our place, and I sat in on some of that, and it's Sani. It's a small group. Like we said before about Chaim Glantz.
Yeah.
How many people do we have that actually people can rely on who have experience? And that's one of the hardest things that so many people comment. I think this is the only area in the world that people who have never helped anybody feel comfortable giving an opinion.
That's such a great. Okay, I got to tell you, I sat with this very wealthy guy.
Oh, then for sure he's entitled to an
Right.
opinion. And
he was just telling me how to help people with addiction and stuff like that, and I didn't say it.
Because
The
he's
story
wealthy.
in my head as I said it, I was like, I'm dying to walk in this office and tell him how to do real estate.
Right, right.
You're buying the wrong stuff.
That's not
what
the
you
way to
gotta
do it.
Forget about that. Just buy this. What are you doing? And I find it very funny. I will tell you this.
I
It
want
is
my
my
bracha
birthday
first.
week.
Oh, good.
So I'll go with the bracha.
All right.
Otherwise, I heard the greatest thing. Stop it. Go sit down. Go sit down. Go
not
sit
the
down.
real
Stop
deal.
it. Stop it. Stop it.
myself
love
doing
it.
that
I
more and
love
more.
it. I'm very embarrassed. But part of my life is that I got to sit through embarrassment.
If you
heard,
if you had to have embarrassment, let this be it.
let it be it. I heard an amazing vert like a week ago from my friend Josh Rosen, and he told me he said he doesn't like any celebrations besides for birthdays.
Okay.
And he said, and you're gonna love this. He said every celebration is about you accomplishing something. Your birthday is because I'm just celebrating you being alive.
Very nice.
You yourself. And I decided I'm going to embrace my birthday this year. Because every year I'm like, what did I do? I just lived another year. You know what? I'm here. That's what we're celebrating.
I think that, it's like every other celebration is about you. This is just really being thankful to Hashem because he's the one who decided that we get to have you for another year.
Right.
And Klal Yisrael is better off for it because you're not an individual. You're not an individual. You're holding up hundreds of people.
All right.
It's the truth.
Okay, so I am going to give you a bracha. And that I give you a bracha. We'll start off this podcast with a bracha.
Nice.
I give you a bracha. Okay, we just finished Chukas, right? And when the kind goes and is matar the other people, I'm getting very from on this podcast.
You're holding.
Matar the other people, he gets a little tame himself, right? And he's got to go to the mikveh afterwards and that's what I find in the work we're doing. And Nietzsche says, like, you stare into the void. The
Who?
void.
Rabbi
Nietzsche.
who?
Rabbi Nietzsche. He's a German rabbi. Friedrich Nietzsche. I'm sorry to mix Lukas and Friedrich Nietzsche, but it happens in my brain.
Only on this podcast, right here.
Right, only this podcast. When we look into the void looks into us. You and I look into so much pain. People suffering at levels that people can't imagine. I come home and I cry.
Do you? You could still cry?
I
still have tears?
cry. Sometimes it's more like I'm never going back to work ever again type of cry. That's me getting angry. But when I think, I'm like, how is it possible that so many people have to get over so many challenges, so much suffering? I mean, it doesn't stop. So my bracha to you is that you giving your light to these people who are suffering should only enhance your light. It should not diminish your light. You should be able to feel the pain and then be matar yourself over and over and over again, that you actually grow in light and don't diminish your light. And I know that the mashal, the candle, and you could just pass and pass and pass, but I want you to, I give you a bracha that your torch should get stronger and stronger and not diminished by all the pain. That's my bracha to you.
Amen. I want you to think about something.
All right.
If you put into a bin or a basin or a river the amount of tears that you know about, it would be so much. It would be so big. It's too much to bear. How much tears, how much pain. But I want you to imagine if there's another big bin, big ocean, whatever, river, of all the tears that you help people not have. It's way more. You saved people from so much pain. You help people live. There are people alive because of your work, your dedication. I don't know anybody else. You're not in this for the money. You're not in this for the fame. You're not in this for the glory. You're humble. You're just regular. You try to fool everybody by dressing like this.
New sneakers.
Beautiful. Really, and I don't get paid for this, but I'm telling you that we're very lucky in Klal Yisrael to have a Sani Perlman. We need you in every city, in every state, in every country. And Hashem should give you arichas yamim.
Amen.
Many happy birthdays to be able to inspire people and help so many people in the darkest places. And you've saved much more than what you've dealt with. And that's what keeps me going. People say, how do you deal with the pain? And the hardest part is the people that I can't help. And I hear what's going on out there. The people who are getting helped, I know that Be'ezus Hashem, they're going to get better. And when they're laughing in my groups, there's a lot of laughter, and the constant stream of good news that comes in gives me a lot of hope, because there's so much hope.
Yeah, I have a very similar feeling when people ask me, like, oh, how you doing this? How you doing this? And I'm like, because I have the gift of time that I see these guys 10 years from now. Right. I just went to 9 weddings and a bris, and I'm supposed to be in Avelis, and I skip all that and go to these weddings because it's such joy in the world. And I see it 10 years down the line. You're seeing the pain right now. So that, like what you're saying, our mamish relate to, like, it's like...
Every time I get a new call from new parents, I do an intake call. Right. And they talk. And I tell them, I don't need a lot of information just to see if you're in the category that I feel I could help. Most of the time it's not, but many times it is. And sometimes they'll just need to talk, and they'll talk for an hour straight without breathing. And I'm hearing such, and I always tell them this, and it's true. I say, I'm so sorry for the pain that you've been through, the craziness, the pain of parents. And they come to me and they're like, all the magazine articles didn't help them. And all the people out there saying, where are you? And they come here like, we tried everything, nothing else is working. Could you please help us? And I, many times, it even feels like this is a pretty easy situation compared, because they're in so much pain for good reason. And it's like, I just had recently, they said, did you ever hear of anything like this? And it was like, in my office, it wasn't so bad.
Right.
But I didn't want to say that because it's hell, you know? I'm like, yeah, I've heard it. Yeah. And Bezos Hashem, you're going to be fine. And
Yeah,
they're like,
well,
what? There's hope?
There's hope.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to do this for 20. We couldn't do this for 20 years if we didn't have success and if we were just Rahman al-Itzlan, you know, it wasn't working out. I do groups. It's open. Everybody's there. They see everybody else's journey. I mean, that's what I formed as a group. So there's you can't.
No, I find that amazing with the work we're doing. A lot of it was just knowing it's right and fighting through because, I mean, it was easy I watched so much things being done wrong,
Right.
that it was a little easier for me to like come up with it, but it was also like a leap. I was telling someone today about like our technique with the sober living, how the difference is, and everybody's like, it resonates like it should be true. Like my soul hears it, but it can't work.
Right.
It can't work.
Right.
So I
get that all the time.
but we were like, if your soul hears it, it's right. You
well,
know what I'm saying?
I also wouldn't have known. I also wouldn't have known what to do, but I lived with the guys in Home SWEEEET Home. I saw the piece of them, of this big, huge problem that can end up in the worst things in the world. There's just like a chip that's missing. And if you put in the chip, the problems go away. So put in the chip. And they're like, yeah, I should put it. I hear that, but, and all the buts are, and there are still people today with the same buts as people 10 years ago. I'm like, but that's like defunct. Like, why should a kid get better if you embrace them? I mean, the Baal Shem Tov said it. The Chazon Ish said it. I have in Raising Royalty, my book, I have like 100 rabbi. Rav Pam said it. Everybody said embrace. Everybody. There's no rejection. We don't have rejection as part of our system. Well, and what about drugs? Same thing. When you reject the kid on drugs, they do more drugs.
That's what happens.
It's like, why is this so... Like, I have to be so embarrassed to say, well, I got a call from a therapist, and I love therapists. I recommend more people to therapy than I'm just a regular guy. I'm not an organization. I constantly recommend to therapy, but not about one area. How to deal with someone else, which I don't believe should have been part of therapy. Therapy is make me better. How do I control my kid? They don't know, right? And they're constantly saying, you know, you cannot supply, you cannot enable. And it's like this kind of thinking that it's causing so much more damage. The kid moves from cigarettes to vaping, you take it away, you cannot enable, ends up on weed. You still keep on doing stuff over and over and over again. The definition of insanity.
Right.
Albert Einstein doing the thing over and over again and expecting different results because you cannot. And I got a call from a therapist. You advised parents to give money to a teenager knowing that the teen might buy cigarettes?
You're like, might
cigarettes? I'm like, so your advice would be to not give a kid money because he might use it for cigarettes. So now you're cutting a teen off from money. You're not giving the kid any money ever because he might use it for cigarettes. Do you know the damage done to a teenager who doesn't get any money from his parents? That's much worse than if he would buy cigarettes. I mean, don't they understand that with that mentality, you're pushing the kid because now he's or she is on their own. They will get money. They will get cigarettes. And then you're not providing. You're abdicating the throne.
Let me pull you back a little bit.
Yeah.
Let me pull you back. No, you're mamish in, and I want to talk shop. But I also want to know, like, well, the question I really always wanted to ask you, and I don't know if I've ever asked you, even though a million questions we had, is why? Why are you doing this?
Oh, why am I doing this?
Yeah, where did this come from?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a gift from Hashem because I'm a regular guy. I don't know why Hashem chose me, gave me such a schus. I'm very humble. I don't know why I opened Home SWEEEET Home. I don't know why I had this idea.
No thoughts on that? Because I thought it when the first time you walked into our place and you were like coming up with the idea of Home SWEEEET Home. And I was like,
funny. That was funny.
Why are you doing this?
Right?
In my brain, I was like,
so you have this question since then?
Yes.
Since 2003. Sonny has this question.
I don't want to jinx it. I'm like, keep going.
Right.
Now you're deep in. I feel safe.
Now I'm going to be like, oh my gosh, I never thought of that.
Wait a
I
minute.
quit.
I quit.
I'm out.
I'm scared someone's
I
going to
quit.
ask me.
Yeah, it's a good point. I never thought of that. I don't know.
No, I want to tell you something. In my career, and you probably have this also, I have had hundreds and hundreds of people come to me, and I'm really happy to help as best I can, and tell me about a program they're going to make and this they're going to do. And
Right.
I would say the success rate on even opening the program is about 5%.
Right.
And the success rate of the programs that stay open are even maybe lower.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the rates are higher. But so you came in, most of the time I'm like, I'll give what I have, but it's almost humoring. Like, it's really going to happen? I don't know, but I'll give whatever I have to try to help it happen. And I've done that so many times. A lot of people have asked me, like, well, just stop, or start charging for it or something like that. I'm like, what do you mean? This guy might open a program and change the world. Like, I got to do what I can,
Time out. And that
Right.
is why you're Sonny Perlman.
That's why I'm saying.
Because everybody else says, enough, charge him, whatever. And you're like, but he might help someone.
You might help.
How could I
him,
not
yeah.
help? You have such a heart. Such a heart.
Yeah. Well, maybe, but it's really embarrassing.
I
what you're
remember
saying to me.
going down to our
Do
place.
you remember that first time?
Because I had this idea, right? And I never mentored kids. Like a year or two before I opened Home Sweet Home, I was at the Aguda convention, and there was a symposium with Rabbi Yaakov Solomon and Rabbi Yankee Horowitz, who were already doing stuff at that time.
Right.
And it was about off the derech teens at risk, blah, blah, blah. And someone asked me in my family, like, are you going to that? And I'm like, no, what does it have to do with me? Like, I'm not in that field. And then all of a sudden, like a year and a half later, boom, I opened Home Sweet Home. And when I thought of the idea, I went to everybody in the field to discuss it with them. And I don't know if you remember this, but this is pretty amazing.
Yeah.
And Zachar Latayv from Moshe Binnick. I sat in that little room on the side,
Yeah.
and
Still
and
there. I'm still there.
There was a
Every
green couch, and I know I just spoke to Chaim Glantz. He's there tonight. I'm so jealous. So there were three guys sitting, and Moshe Binnick was in the middle. And I was sitting like on a chair, like in a job interview. And I started saying, I want to have a home, and I'm opening up a home. I already rented it. Hashem. It's a whole story how I got the home. It was very funny, great story. But anyway, I'm opening a home. I'm going to move in kids, and they were laughing at me. Like, maybe mentor a kid first? Are you a therapist? Are you a professional? You're going to just move in kids who were homeless, rough, tough kids who were thrown out of home, who were with addiction and whatever. You don't even know what the word addiction is. And you're just going to move them to your house. They're going to burn the place down. They were laughing at me. And Moshe Binnick moved to the edge of the seat. He moved up and he said, keep talking, keep talking. Gadol Adar. Keep talking, keep talking. And then he says, what can I do to help you? I said, I want you to see it. We met the next day, 10:30, in the house. He saw it. There's a house that's opening before we opened, and he offered to take care of the grocery bill from Moshe's, typical Moshe Binnick, right?
Yeah.
And he ended up sending me a Home Sweet Home kid who ended up being very close to me, that he paid the ticket, scraped the guy off the ground, literally, at 18 years old. The kid got drunk for his 18th birthday and passed out on the street. And he woke up in his own vomit, in his own on the street with his face against the pavement. And Moshe got in touch with him. He knew him from before and said, you're going to Home Sweet Home. He was a visionary, and he had trust, and he had a feeling. And I had no right to do this, and I don't recommend necessarily people to just jump in. Take a course or something. Coach, nothing. I was a regular
crazy.
guy.
But I tell you Moshe Binnick's story.
Yeah,
Quick.
please.
I have a million, but I
Please.
love
There should be a
talking
book
about
on
Moshe.
him. There should be a book on
There
Moshe.
should be a book on him. But he was so unassuming. You really didn't know what he was doing. Moshe a million times said, enough. I'm not paying for anymore. It's enough. It's enough. And I had a trick. No matter, a guy would come and he'd tell me his whole story. I know this guy needs $70,000. Gotta get him to rehab. Gotta get him sober living. And Moshe's like, I'm not paying for one more person. I say, you see that guy in the corner? Just tell him the same story you told me. I don't do any intro, no. Just walk over to him. Moshe take over everything. If he heard the story from the mouth of the person,
Such a heart.
it was impossible for him not to help.
Yeah.
I watched it. Wild.
Yeah,
Wild.
He
I have
was
so many
one of
stories
a
with
kind.
him. He mamish has done.
one of a kind. There
He's
are
done a lot.
some,
Okay, so no.
yeah.
But you don't have a great backstory. Like, I don't understand it.
Yeah, I know.
I don't understand where.
I know, it's so crazy. I was never. I'm so sorry. I'm embarrassed.
Yeah.
I was
And
never
no,
on.
it's not just that.
No,
You
I was
have
never
a-
on.
you-
I was never on drugs. I'm so sorry.
yeah, that's bad.
I know. Like everybody else in the field is usually. I never, Baruch Hashem, I never struggled with a kid, and I don't know. I no backstory.
No bad.
Well, you know what? After I was in it, somebody said, "Do you know why you opened Home SWEEEET Home?" And I'm like, "No, I really don't." They're like, "Because you were a little bit homeless." Because my mother got sick when I was 16, and she was sick for 2 years, like in and out of like coma state. And then afterwards, she passed away. So I was 18, and then my dad got remarried like a year later, like when I was 19 and a half, 20. So I dated like from my sister's house, and I didn't really have a place to go. I don't think that's connected. But they were like, "Yeah, you were homeless."
Right.
Like, oh, okay. I don't know. Maybe that's
Might be
it.
connected.
Might be. I never related to, I never did any kind of anything, drugs, alcohol, anything like that. But, you know, Shem gave me a feeling that I never judged anybody. And I just always said, like, tell me about your experience. And I always felt like they're really wonderful. They're really wonderful. They're struggling. They're going through something. I didn't realize that that's called being humble until many years later, where I ran into so many people who were judgmental, and I'm like, do you realize you're judging? No, he's just lazy. I'm like, that's called judging. You're looking at behavior and you're determining that the person, you know why, because he's lazy, he's about taiva. I was just talking to Chaim on the way here.
Okay.
Chaim Tzviglans. Wow. Tzaddik.
Yes.
We're just talking
Also
about.
doesn't have a good backstory.
No?
Terrible backstory.
Really?
Nothing.
No
Great
drugs?
life. He helps more people than anybody.
He's amazing. He's amazing. We were once driving and we stopped off in Muncie, and in Muncie the Rav said, "Well, they go off the derech because they're Bali Taiva," and he stood up, and I was new. I was just like, you know, and he was banging on the table. He said, "I'm looking for so long to meet the Bal Taiva. I'm looking for so long. I keep on meeting kids who are in pain. I also say I keep on meeting broken Jews. You know, they're not healthy Esavs. They're sick Yaakovs. They really are. They've gone through." Almost all of them. And you could see what they went through. You don't need to know. Look at the symptoms. You know, people don't understand. They think that they drink continuously because they don't have the power to stop drinking. You know, that's ridiculous.
No, I just had somebody wonderful on my podcast, and he was kind of saying that they're drinking to run away. And that's the conventional wisdom, of drinking to run away or to clear up pain. And my belief, and I think it's true, is that addicts are running towards. They are spiritual beings trying to connect to something outside themselves that's going to save them, which is the most spiritual thing you could possibly do. To cleave to a creator, something outside that's going to help you. It's like crying.
You talking about the ones who go to AA or even before?
I'm talking about, why would an addict use drugs? And they're not running away from the pain. They're running towards the answer, which is a spiritual connection.
And you can only get to that answer, or they think they're misunderstanding.
They tried the real way. They tried, but the people that were supposed to teach them to love and connect them to all that stuff, they hurt them. So they're scared of people. They're scared of connections. They're scared of the God they were taught. They're scared of the real stuff because they've been hurt from all that stuff. So they're looking for something else to give them the feeling of connection.
Could you do drugs or alcohol to a degree, to a big degree, to the point that you're more than once a week or more than, you know, like that you're called addict? By the way, I'm going to reveal to you what I feel addiction is.
Okay.
And in a minute, but let's get back to that.
Okay. Curious.
This is a big reveal.
Uh-oh.
I'm a little nervous because if you say, Avi, that's not right, I will have to agree to you because this is your field and you're higher up in the rank of addiction than I am.
Okay.
So
a guy using,
you know, to the point that is really, you know, what's called an addict. Could you get there without having pain, having a nice life? You did well, and you like drinking, so you just keep on drinking. You like doing drugs, so you just keep on getting sucked into that world. Is that possible?
No.
Right.
Well, I mean, right.
That's it. So just to everybody listening, when you see somebody that cannot stop drinking or doing anything that's addictive, they're not like you. They're not stupid. They don't not realize that it's killing their life. No kid ever drops out of school and says, you know what? I think I picked a really good road to success. I drop out of high school. I'm going to smoke a lot of weed morning to night. I'm going to get my hands on oxys and other kind of shrooms and whatever. I'm going to just, kind of smell a lot, not flush the toilet, not shower. I think that's a good path to success, dropping out. Nobody ever did that. Did you ever meet anybody who was so dumb that that's out of free choice, out of Bechira, that they chose this path to drop out of high school and be that kid at risk?
No, but I met a lot of people that just went to have fun, but they're not really the addicts.
Fun.
Addicts
I'm talking
are not
about
having fun.
That's what I'm trying. That's what I'm trying to say. A guy doing it once a month, having fun. I'm talking about that it wrecks your life.
No, that it wrecks your life. No one has that plan. That's a wild plan, and it's one of the reasons why helping addiction is actually easy, is because it's easy to identify that there's a problem. Nobody wants it. So it's like they're like trying to convince themselves, like, it's not so bad. Pot's not so bad. I made a million conversations. Parents have said to me, and I'll get back to the addiction thing with you because I am curious. But parents have said to me, like, the problem is that he believes that pot is fine.
Right.
And I said, give me 5 minutes. I have a spectacular way to prove to him, show him that he does not want pot. And he doesn't like pot. And it's bad for him.
What is that?
I have a beautiful way. It's a whole graph and diagram. It's
a thing.
I'll put it out on a video if you want. It's a real thing.
That's nice.
It's not that hard. It takes about 5 minutes. I
think you should do that. A 5-minute thing for everybody to identify if you are messed up.
Well, it's not about messed up. It's they argue that pot's fine, and I say
if you are,
right.
The result is that, and therefore it's not really, and therefore you're really messed up.
Right, but the moral of what I'm saying is that I then convince them, and then I'm like, okay, I'll convince him. He's still not going to stop.
Right.
The problem didn't go away because you're arguing over something stupid.
Right.
He knows it's bad.
Well, you're going to like my definition of addiction.
Okay, so
that's going to go. Oh, I forgot something else. You see, we could do this forever.
That's the plan.
Between my stories and your stories.
Let's go.
So I'm with this kid and he's wrecking his life. Friend of mine's son. It's so sad. So smart, so wonderful, so sweet, so considerate, like all of our kids, all of our addicts. I'm talking about the kids in pain, I call them kips.
Right.
And, I'm like, you're in pain. No, I'm not. I'm not in pain. I'm not in pain. And he did cocaine and then he did heroin with needles. And then it was really bad. And then he got addicted to painkillers. And so he was open with me because I'm non-judgmental. I'm just worried about you. And we were driving in the car. I'm like, listen, I'm just worried about you. And he's telling me that, no, now I'm doing painkillers. So I said, I feel a duty to tell you. Like if you would see me walking around, I'll be like, I'm fine. I just need a Vicodin. Can you please just give me, painkiller? And you see the knife handle in my chest and my shirt is full of blood. You'd be like, Avi, you have to go to a hospital. You're not well. Right? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. I just need painkillers. I said, I could see you. I know you for 10 years already. I see the handle. I know that you've been stabbed emotionally. I know that you're in pain. And he looks at me and he goes, I am not, this is severe. I am not in pain. So I said, well, then why do you need painkillers? It was the first time in 10 years. Thank God it was called painkillers, because when I did it with alcohol, he didn't get it. When he did it with drugs, he didn't get it. It was called painkillers. He's like, why do I need painkillers? So yeah, they're killing their pain. Okay.
Now you got me curious.
All right, here's
You're defining addiction? That's what you're doing?
My definition of addiction.
Your definition. I remember your definition of the 12 steps.
Right?
I don't know how
Remember
long
that
was.
Oh, this is 2004. We're getting old. We're talking decades. 22
Can I
years
explain
ago.
to the audience that it was
1, 2. We could even perform this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and you end up hugging the kid. That's my 12-step program to save our kids.
So what's addiction?
So imagine that I have headaches, and so I take 2 Tylenol. Headache goes away. 4 hours later, Tylenol wears off. Again, my headache is back. So I take Tylenol. Everybody would do that, right? Most people. And you can't function like migraines, let's say, right? Whatever. It's terrible, terrible headaches. And every 6 hours, I'm taking the maximum you could take, right? Day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, day 20, day 100. I'm in pain. I'm taking Tylenol. Meanwhile, I'm allergic to mold. And I don't know that behind me in my desk is mold. I don't know that it's growing there. And meanwhile, there's a mold problem. And we're not going to clear up the mold problem. And therefore, I'm going to have headaches every day. I'm going to take Tylenol every day. Am I an addict?
I mean, yeah.
I say no.
Okay, but you didn't explain what an addict is. In my definition,
I'm not. I'm a normal human being.
You explained to me addiction.
I'm not addicted to Tylenol. I need the Tylenol right now because I cannot function with this terrible headache. This is my solution. This is not my problem. And if it doesn't go away, right?
Okay.
And if it doesn't go away after a month or 2 or 3, it doesn't make me an addict. I'm not addicted to taking this. When do we know that I have an addiction? When the mold is away and I don't have headaches and my body is used to taking the Tylenol, then I'm addicted. That's the addiction. Try to take away my Tylenol with the mold there. What's the success rate going to be? Very low, because you're expecting me to live in pain. You're expecting me to live with this terrible headache that I can't open my eyes and I feel horrible and whatever because I'm allergic to mold. I can't live like that. But after you clear up the mold, and then I'm addicted to this Tylenol, and then I have to get off the Tylenol, my success rate is going to be fantastic. I'm going to go to detox.
You're not gonna like my
I'm going to go through a week or
responses.
2. Well, let me get my nimshal.
Oh, okay.
If I am in pain emotionally, and I cannot live with that pain, because it's not like, oh, when I was a kid, okay, thank you. You're either resilient or it wasn't that bad. 20 different kids get hit by a truck. They're riding a bike to get hit by a truck. One guy walks away, fine. The other guy breaks a leg. The other guy breaks a knee. The other guy breaks the back. The other guy breaks the neck. You can't compare what you went through to what, look at the facts. This guy cannot live. So this kid or adult, whatever it is, this person, this human, is in so much emotional pain that they cannot function. They are forced to numb their pain. I once had a mom. She calls me up. I have a 15-year-old daughter. 15-year-old daughter. It's a little kid. She drinks to the point of passing out several times a week. What can I do to get my kid to stop drinking alcohol? So I said, get her drugs. She goes, what? That's what, you crazy? I said, oh, I get it. No alcohol, no drugs. How about maybe she should join a gang? Are you crazy? I said, oh, I get it. No alcohol, no drugs, no gang. How about she should get some tattoos and cut herself? What? Are you crazy? I said, oh, I get it. I said, Mommy dearest, you love your daughter. The problem is not the alcohol. She has to do something with the pain that she's in. No 15-year-old or any year-old is going to drink to the point of passing out several times a week unless they are in enormous emotional pain. So it's not about getting her to stop alcohol, because then she'll find a different way to numb her pain. The idea is to get her out of pain. My enemy is not addiction. My enemy is pain. If I go to the dentist, I request to be numbed. And if he tells me I have to drill you every day for 30 days, I will get numbed every day for 30 days. And if it's 60, 90, a million, I will never sit there and get drilled without Novocaine, without being numbed. They're numbing themselves. So you want them to stop numbing themselves while the pain is still there. It's very, very, very low success rate.
So, yes. Okay. One part you're not going to like. The part I'm going to say is that you're being mechaben to an actual therapy approach, which I don't know
It's
if
wonderful.
No, it's wonderful.
Wonderful.
No.
Wonderful.
The therapist believes if you fix the problems, the disease goes away. That's kind of the idea. Kind of true. I'm not saying it's not true. That the idea. It doesn't necessarily work when you're working with addiction, and that's the problem. So 2 factors go into making an addict, because you said before, addict is someone, it has to be in a lot of pain. There are 2 factors. I could spot the addict in every family, and you can too.
Yeah, because his shoes are on backwards.
Maybe the shoes are. Never heard that one. That's pretty good. But I once was at a conference and someone asked me, how do you know like a kid, like you really should be scared? And I said, there's only one kid that you really should make you afraid. And he's also the kid you should be the most excited about. But he's the one you should make you afraid.
Sensitive.
The kid who is super sensitive. They feel everybody's feelings.
Yeah.
That's why you said they're the most lovely people in the world.
Yes.
They feel their feelings more than anybody in the world.
Correct.
Now,
they feel
that doesn't do
not
it
only their
itself.
own feeling, they feel everybody's feeling.
Everybody's
They're
feelings.
the kids that when the rebbe or the teacher gets angry at another kid for no reason, that it kills them. They can't live with it. most of the other, okay, it's not my problem. It's the other kid. They will get really upset at other people's suffering and pain.
Their level of empathy is through the roof. So it's number one. Number two, you need an enormous amount of pain. So it's a mix of nature and nurture, meaning the nature, they didn't become sensitive because
So the rough, not sensitive people go through rough and tumble stuff, right? And they just
figure it out.
it doesn't affect them because they don't lose sleep over
They can have
it.
difficult lives and stuff like that, but they're not going to go into this. So the way I describe addiction the best, and see if it fits the mold, but the way I describe addiction in the simplest way, because I think it's complicated and also simple, but the simplest way I explain it is that in our life we have to deal with our difficulties, and there is always mold in everybody's lives. That's the thing. There's always mold. How do we deal with it? Most people have the internal resources because of the parents, and because of their nature, and because of different things. They have a self-esteem, and I could go deeper into that, but they have what we call self-esteem, which is the ability to handle pain, and not just pain.
I call it emotional energy.
Emotional energy, but it's internal.
Right.
So I have it. So like it takes hope. It takes all different types of emotions that have to be very powerful, that I have to believe I got this and I can handle it no matter how bad it is. You lose a parent, you lose somebody who you love. Things happen in your life, abuse. We have to figure out how to deal with it. That's internal. External. What happens is if our internal is very low, so then we're going to use something external. All of us. You're saying, I need a Tylenol. For you do a Tylenol. But you wouldn't take too much. You wouldn't take enough Tylenol to ruin your life. Eventually you'd be like, okay, I can handle the pain because I'm a normal person. I don't want to screw up my life. I don't want to lose my family, my job, and this and everything.
I disagree with that. Not if the pain is so bad.
What I'm saying
that
is
I can't function.
What I'm saying is if you have the ability to handle the pain.
Correct.
Which takes a lot. You're pointing out a very important piece that needs pain.
That
but
at some
more
point,
than just the pain.
I could maybe handle more pain than someone else, but once you get over the threshold, you can't function. See, the reason that
then we have to use external self-esteem. That's what I call it. And then when somebody uses too much external,
is it external self-esteem? Because I don't think that their self-esteem goes up because they're getting high.
No, it's not going up.
It feels.
I call it external self-esteem as the opposition of an internal self-esteem. It's not self-esteem. It's just what I use to cope, but I take it from the outside. I take it from drugs. I take it from alcohol. I take it from sex, relationships, whatever. I take it, and I try to fill this hole. But here's the big problem. So now I'm agreeing with you almost 100%, but
it's more than an average day for me, so
it's not bad.
Let's go. We're good. I'm home.
It's not the pain that's breaking the people. It's the story that the pain tells us. So when I use this muscle with a tank and a car, and because the self-esteem is made up of worthiness and competence. So the tank is, I am worthy, I am loved. That's your love tank. The car could be amazing. Like you have addicts dealing with them. It's not a question of how to get a job. It's a question of how to be filled up their tank so that they could run their Maserati. And, they got a great car. They just got to know how to do it. Like the people you're dealing with, parents are like, oh, he needs to learn this and this. Like, hey, listen, let's fill the tank. And then he's off to the races. Like, you don't need to fix the car. Maybe he needs a polishing at best. But that's it. It's gone. These guys are amazing, right? So the message of abuse and neglect and all this stuff is the opposite of the message that we need for self-esteem. The message is you are not worthy. If a person who's supposed to love you hurts you, it gets in your head. They don't love me. I'm not worthy. A little kid keeps saying that message to themselves. When we tell a kid, I love you, you're amazing, I get excited to see you, they keep getting the message, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy, I'm worthy. But it comes, and that's the mashal for Hashem. We are the mashal to tell our kids that Hashem loves you the way we love you. But what ends up happening is abuse, especially abuse, like I know we talk about sexual abuse and all that, especially abuse that we keep secretive, because the secrets build the stories more. So what I'm saying is this. The problem is not the pain. The problem is that some people internalize the pain enough to believe they are unworthy of being in this world and unloved. In order to fix an addict, we have to make them change their mind to I am worthy. So it's not that we're taking away the pain, because anybody can handle any pain.
Anybody can handle.
That's what I'm saying.
Any pain.
If we have a full tank
Amazing.
and we are full, bring it.
Really.
Bring it.
Rape?
We see, yes.
What?
Do you know how many millions and millions of people are thriving in this world and they've been raped, they've been abused, they've been sexually abused? That question I had, this is an interesting thing, because when I was early in the field, there was a bunch of questions I had that I didn't feel like I was getting the answers to. My biggest question wasn't why abuse causes dysfunction. Like abuse,
Yeah,
addiction.
Most people have it.
I'm like, that seems partial to me.
Really.
My question, well, maybe it's not partial to some people. People, maybe your haters are like, well, what are you talking about? Whatever, I'm past that. But to me, it was partial. That much abuse breaks someone down. My question was, I thought was such an essential question. How come there are people with enormous amounts of pain that are thriving? Where does resilience come from? It wasn't why
if you
they
could package
broke.
that and sell resilience, you can make a lot of money.
Okay, well, there is
So we're just-
resilience studies that are out there. They momish back your stuff like crazy. You should have them. Oh my God, I'm quoting this stuff all the time. You need to package them. We'll find them for you. There was resilience studies done out of Hawaii with people that were broken, worse communities, very like indigenous communities that suffered.
Yeah, but they were in Hawaii, so as bad as life is,
Right, it's not that bad.
it's not that bad.
At least they were surfing.
You know, a bad day in Hawaii, like a good day in New York in the winter, I'm saying that's much worse than Hawaii, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Well,
Homeless, they're homeless in Hawaii?
Yeah,
Like, seriously?
That's where I want to be homeless.
Yeah.
I always wonder why we have homeless in New York. Go to Florida.
Right.
Like, what are you doing?
I don't want to
get it.
come back as a homeless person, God forbid.
Yeah.
But I think I'd have the common sense to just head south.
All I need is one bus ticket.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
got much more
Right.
comfortable.
I don't know, over time even. If it takes you a year or two, why are you still in the middle
Yeah, no, I never
get
got it.
warm. Yeah. That's
Never
my
got it.
advice to homeless
But
people.
this study was done, and there's only two. And then they had all these resilience studies. So they were like, how did the people that went through that? Most of them
Yeah.
didn't do well. Inner city, gangs, all that stuff. Then there was a nice chunk of people that did well. How
They have
did
inner
do
city
well?
tough youth stuff in Hawaii?
Yes.
What, they like chase each other while they're wearing a luau with the...
Because the whites came and ruined everything. Let's get down to it.
How do you like threaten somebody with like a coconut? Like,
You're so hung up on the Hawaii.
I'm very hung up on the
It happened in
Hawaii.
Detroit.
it's
not
Detroit,
true. It happened in Hawaii.
I get it.
Whatever. That's
Hawaii.
where the studies came from. There were two things that created the resilience for these people in the studies. They always a commonality. They either had an alternate family that they moved into. Anybody with a good home knows a couple of kids are moving in that you don't know. They're your kids' friends. Maybe they become good friends, but they kind of figure out a way to move into your house, and you're feeding them peanut butter jelly sandwiches, and then you find out they're just there always. They either found alternative families, or they found one person who cared about them enough, wasn't necessarily a family, that spent at least a minimum of 4 hours a month with them. These are the studies.
that's it?
That was it. That's where, by the way, when I have our place, I don't allow any volunteers to come if they're not going to give me one night a week, and it has to be consistent.
Right.
Otherwise, you're not part of my resilience study. Like, I don't need you. I don't need you to show up every 3 weeks to be nice to this kid.
Nice.
I want you.
Interesting, Agav.
Yeah.
My Home Sweet Home, the way I ran it with the volunteers once a week.
Once a week.
Right. And
Same thing.
so there was that's why it worked.
It worked.
It builds resilience.
It builds resilience.
Wow.
But what did the resilience do? What had happened here? And this is, Mamish fits in with your stuff. And, what was it like? When who died? Rish Lakish. When Rish Lakish died, and Yochanan had he wanted someone to argue with him. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to argue with you. I want to say what happens when someone loves you enormously, and that's why our village and our place is all just built on this love and community. I'm not trying to do anything but to change their mind back to what they originally thought as babies. I am lovable. So you have all these people abusing you and all these people doing that, and the sick suffering that you have in your life and all that stuff. And the key to overcoming all of it is the belief that I am worthy of love. And if I'm worthy of love, I'm worthy to fight this. And I'm worthy to go on. And I'm worthy to have my own family and love my own family back. And I'm worthy of forgiving the people that hurt me. And all the stuff we have to do starts with that change. So it's not that the pain isn't there and it doesn't make logical sense to do it. But if I'm strong enough, I know there's pain there. And I feel this in myself. I know there's a lot of pain there, but I want a family and I want to love and I want to be this. And I have the strength to do this
And I
because
deserve
I'm
it.
full.
And I deserve it.
So that's the thing.
So that was an Home SWEEEET Home. They used to go, these kids were nobodies. And then all of a sudden, after a couple of months, they're like, VIP. Everywhere we went was a bunch of guys and a bunch of them. And we went there with cars and they felt VIP.
I learned one thing. You had the merch.
Yeah, we had merch.
Merch is very important. I've been very on it.
They feel
I learned
like
that
they're
from
a
you.
part of a. I did it by accident. I just did it. I don't know. It was like, hey, we're going on a trip.
These accidents. I have
Everything I did was by accident.
Yeah.
Can I? I mean, I feel like.
So I want to know how you came up with this. With your theories.
I want to explain.
Sorry, go explain
what we're saying. What we're saying is the same thing. What we're saying is the same thing.
Yes.
What I was saying is that as long as I'm in pain, I'm not an addict. I'm a human being. What you were saying, as far as the two parts, is not having the self-esteem is why I'm feeling so much pain. I wasn't talking about how you get to the pain.
Right.
So those two things that you need to be a quote unquote addict, I would separate that and say that it's pain. But if you have a high self-esteem and you feel very worthy and you create resilience, so you won't have that level of pain. But somehow, if you end up in that level of pain that you cannot manage and it's ruining your life, that's the pain that I must numb because I can't get up, I can't function.
Right.
So we agree on what makes someone an addict.
Yes.
As far as the other side, we're also agreeing because I say, when I'm not in pain anymore, so you're saying if you build a resilience, right, that's a way that I'll be in less pain. That's fine. I'm not talking about how to do that, which I agree totally with what you said, by the way, and that's what we're doing. That's what I tell parents to do because if you have a father, a mother that you feel that is not proud to be your parent, you could have 100 guys hugging you. And we did that and we were successful, but you need a whole village to say you are worthy, not even from the bite of that disgusting, terrible, horrific trauma that you went through, but the new trauma. You have a new trauma. The trauma makes you unravel and you have a new trauma. My parents don't like me. My parents aren't proud of me. My parents are not proud to be my parents. That you're re-traumatizing the one who needs the most love. When parents come to me and I teach them how to say, I am proud to be your dad. Those are the most powerful words in the world. I am proud to be your dad. And Baruch Hashem, I've used this on my kids because I realized the power of that. There is nothing more powerful for any human being, any age. You could be 95 years old. If your parents are alive and they say, I am proud to be your father. I am proud to be your mother. You know how many thousands and tens of thousands of people would just burst out crying and say, I would give anything in the world to hear that. Some of them could be very wealthy. They're broken people because they don't have parents. And if you're a parent out there, make sure you give this vitamin of life to your children because you're going to build up their resilience power, like you said. So if, God forbid, they are hitting bumps in the road, and even if they dabble, they won't. I always say when you have parents who know how to be parents during a spiral, instead of this all the way down, it's this. Yeah, maybe they'll still struggle and they'll still go and they'll smoke weed and whatever, but they won't end up in the grave. And the road up is going to be much easier also. And you're not pushing them down. You're not a cause. They're not going to go to therapy to discuss my father and my mother and the community. No, we are not part of their pain ever. When you see them starting to unravel, like you see a car has a flat tire, instead of filling it up, they push it, and push it. You end up breaking the rim. Instead of $100 problem for a new tire, you have a $4,000 problem. Keep on pushing it, the whole engine falls down.
Yeah.
The people killing themselves, by and large, 99.9%, because there are some accidents. If you have parents who think you're the greatest thing in the world, and I teach parents how to do that, why should a kid want to die? Gives them the resilience to not want to die, to want to be here. And I've had kids who crying to their parents and saying, I don't want to be here. Let me go. Let me go. You know how that is for a parent? like the kid has cancer and the parents are holding their hand and the kid's saying, just let me go. I want to die. I've had kids in so much pain from terrible, terrible trauma and abuse. And the parents came to me and they got into the kid and they built up this, but it wasn't enough because of the pain at that moment. And the kid was ad kedekach saying, I want to die. If you loved me, you'd let me die.
Yeah.
If you loved me, you wouldn't want me to be in so much pain. And they said, I will never, ever get over you. And those kids made it and they're not in pain anymore. So back to my definition of addiction. However it is that you heal to handle the pain, so it's not over your threshold. Once it's under the threshold, you're fine. So that's my definition of addiction. As long as the pain...
Okay, you want to hear something very cool?
Dude, but I want to know where you disagree. This is teeth in the TWiST over here. We're having machlekes.
You're saying the problem is not...
As long as I'm in pain.
Okay, let's go teeth in the TWiST.
As long as somebody is in pain, for whatever reason, they are not an addict by numbing their pain. They have to numb their pain once their pain is above the threshold that they can't function.
I'm saying that if you're numbing the pain, it defines you as an addict, meaning you're like, that's what
I'll prove to you it's not true.
Doing.
I'll prove to you it's not true.
Oh my God.
Take away the pain. Numb the pain or take away the pain either through trauma therapy or raise the resilience, which I've done hundreds and hundreds of times.
That's called curing addiction.
No, it's called lowering the pain.
So what's an addict?
B'diuk. Addiction is
there's no addiction.
Addiction is only when I don't need this anymore because I'm not in pain or my resilience is high enough that I can handle this pain.
So why am I
doing cocaine?
Have you met a person like this?
Sure.
That just continues and he doesn't have no pain.
That's why they quit.
But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't.
That's why
it doesn't go on.
But it could be 5.
There's no addiction.
Okay.
You're saying there's a tiny moment of time.
5 years. 5 years. The kid's doing cocaine. Everybody calls him an addict because he's doing it for 5 years. 10 years. Doesn't matter. As soon as you get rid of the pain by one of the ways is like what you're saying is by raising the threshold and your parents who love you and you feel worthy and the pain is not above the threshold, then you are still physically addicted to what you took for 10 years. But that's easy to fix in a second. You take a week or two, the success rate is going to be very high. But to take away and call somebody an addict, he's not. Here's the problem. When people say he's an addict, it makes you feel like he's different than me. He's not.
I agree with you.
Am I an addict? Because every time I go to the dentist,
I think you're an addict.
Me?
I think everybody's an addict.
Yeah, I went to
my first I'm not talking the way that
my first AA meeting. Everybody goes around.
You drank when you're 8 days old?
No. Everybody introduced themselves, right?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Khani. I'm an addict. Hi, and I sat in the circle because it was a kid who I was friendly with who had his first year anniversary.
Right.
So I was last. I was sitting next to him. They went all the way around. Hi, I'm Chaim. I'm an addict. Hi, Chaim. I'm Moshe. I'm an addict. Hi, Moshe. It came to me, like 16 people were there. And when it came to me, I said, hi, I'm Avi, and I'm addicted to addicts.
Nice. I say the same thing.
I love addicts. That's my addiction is I love people. They're so real. They're so real. But I feel that I would do the same thing as you. If I had your pain.
You would.
If I was in so much pain, I would do the same thing. And then you're going to call me, you're going to stamp me. He's an addict because I have to drink alcohol to numb my pain because I can't fall asleep and I can't function. I'm an addict? No, I'm a human being in pain. I'm a human in pain. When am I an addict? When I don't have pain anymore and I'm stuck doing this thing. People who are addicted to painkillers and their pain is gone and they're physically addicted to it. In that moment in time.
I don't know people like that.
Yeah, I know people who were, well, why would you?
No, I'm saying they get off. It's not, it doesn't stay on.
Okay, but right.
You fixed it. I'm
right.
saying like
no,
it's
but
not,
but your body is used to cocaine every day.
Yeah, your body gets over in a day.
Right.
That's
no, they go to detox. So I have seen hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of kids who are stamped as addicts, and they get better either without any rehab, or they go when they're out of pain. They go for like a detox thing, and their success rate. The easy thing is to get someone who's addicted. Their body needs the stuff, and they don't need it anymore because they're not emotionally in pain. It's easy to get rid of that.
Yeah, I don't even call that addiction. That's, by the way,
Cole's
that's the medical belief. I don't even call it addiction.
Cole's man.
I believe that you're an addict, I'm an addict, and what I'm saying is, let me explain.
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's human nature to use something outside to feel as if we don't have enough strength inside. No one's got 100% self-esteem.
Right.
People are watching Netflix for 8 hours a night. But they're going to work in the morning and they're living a functional life and they're a minor level addict. They're not going to throw away their wife and kids and go into $300,000 debt overnight. That's way it works is the less and less we have, the more and more we are on the addiction scale. So you're saying we just got to even it out.
Sure.
This goes up, this goes down. The question of whether you should label someone an addict is a whole nother question, if we should identify as an addict. And I do see a positive and a negative, so it's hard to argue that. It's hard for me to argue.
What's the positive and what's
the
the negative?
positive that I found is that people who are struggling to deal with addiction, it really is helpful to know, okay, this is something I'm suffering with and something I could do something about.
And you want to give them, they should know they're in a box.
Meaning, like, instead of saying there's something really wrong with me, no, I have something called addiction, and I'm working on it, and I'm going to be better, and I'm never going to ever use again. It's not about using. I'm not going to. It's even 12 steps talks about the drug one time. That's it in the 12 steps. Nobody knows this. The 12 steps mentions I'm powerless over alcohol in the first one, and then it never talks about it again. All it talks about is fixing our pain. Not our pain, but like the first 3 steps are talking about spirituality and how we connect to Hashem and we fill our tank, and it's all about connecting.
It's funny. I
to
always
something.
said if Mesilas Yesharim would have come up with an idea instead of Prakim, call it steps, he would have been very successful.
Yeah.
Because they came up with an idea called steps, and they're very, very successful. And it says stuff in there that I would never be able to sit with a kid who, let's say, goes off the derech and they're no spirituality. I would never be able to say, okay, now you have to mevatel yourself to God. They're talking about complete bittul.
Bittul.
That's crazy stuff.
And it works. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
That's why they're so empowered when they get healthy from this stuff, because they have such self-control to feel such bittul.
It's amazing, Bittul, but the first 3 steps is what you're doing in Twisted Parenting. The first 3 steps is saying, I'm filling up. I am worthy of love. When you're saying, let's fill up their tank, let's give them the love, you're going to fight them. You're now making, like you said, not only they have trauma before, they have trauma now.
So
And it's
what,
just
you
getting worse
enable
and
them?
worse. What?
So you're supposed to enable them?
Oh, I love enabling.
And that's why I love Sani Perlman. Thank you very much. Because they look at it like it says somewhere in the Aseret Satibris, thou shalt not enable. And they're saying, and they made it into this huge thing. And most therapists, until they get to your level, which most of them
I'm
don't.
going to read your criticism soon. We'll get
Okay.
there.
Most people can't understand the power of enabling. They also don't understand that not enabling is bankrupt. Because I've never, and I should ask you, because together I think we know a lot of people.
Wait, remember what you're saying? Because I got to tell you a quick thing.
Oh,
with
I'm going to
enabling.
forget.
Oh, shoot. Okay, ask me.
I'll say it real fast.
Okay.
And we're going to go back to
funny
enabling.
thing about enabling.
Did you ever meet someone who said, this is my story of how I got clean? I was doing drugs, I was doing alcohol, whatever it was, my addiction, and ruined my life. And things were really dark and terrible, and my life was at risk, and I had nothing, and I couldn't function. And then my parents stopped giving me money, and I had no money. So I got clean because I couldn't buy drugs.
Yeah.
Why do we think that not giving money is going to... Why do we think not giving money is going to get anybody clean?
Because a normal person who doesn't have pain goes,
but they shouldn't
I don't
be-
want to smoke cigarettes, it's too expensive.
Right.
That's a normal person.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not going to get it.
I'm talking about professionals who say you can't enable because then, and they think if you don't enable, no, you know what, you lose out if you don't enable. But how could you? Okay, so we'll get to the hate mail soon. I'm sure it's in there. Okay, now go. You can go back to your thing now
The hate mail is great.
about enabling. He said it. He's a professional for 25
Hey, but I'm not,
years.
nobody
And
listens
he
to
just
me.
said enabling is not bad.
Well,
So I think that the professionals out there
yeah.
should think to themselves, do I agree with Sani? And let's vote. On this podcast, can you vote? Do you agree with Sani as a human being, whoever you are, professional, not professional, addict, whatever? Is enabling good or is enabling bad? Because what I found is...
enabling is a wrong word.
Oh,
What can I just
that's
say?
their big word. Okay, go ahead,
No,
do your thing.
What enabling means, I have control over this person and I'm allowing them to do it.
You're giving
That's
them money.
what enable means.
You're giving them money and
Okay,
they're
what I'm
using
saying
it for
is, like,
drugs.
The reason I don't believe in enabling is because you don't have that control. You have a control to let this person know they're worthy or not. You don't even have that, but you can work on
Daddy,
it. Right?
can I have $100? I want to go up and get smoke up.
Okay, what you just made the
Give me or don't
joke
give me.
where you said, if I don't get the $100, just steal the $100. I get the $100. I'll figure out how to
So
get
you
the
give the
drugs.
kid the money to do the
So
drugs.
there's no such thing as enabling because he's getting it anyway.
They're fully enabled.
Right.
I say these kids are the most enabled kids in the world. A new watch comes out, a new phone comes out. Who has a new iPhone 72? all the rich people and all the kids on the street. They are fully enabled. The question is if they're going to use money or they're going to sell their body or services, but they will get the drugs that they need at that time, and they're not going to do more just because they can.
Listen, I would believe in enabling if it worked. It just doesn't work.
You
so
mean
I
in not
throw it
enabling?
out. Yeah, I'm like I
Doesn't work.
I'm not against the idea. Like if I saw tough love and all that stuff working, I would do it. I'm not against it.
Oh, you know,
Right?
I say that all the time.
Yeah.
I say, like, I was talking to someone who's like, well, we should this and that. I'm like, hey, why don't you, try that? And then if it doesn't work, come to me. If smashing a kid's head in the wall 5 times, Beritzifus, one after another, helps them, do it. Save their life. I haven't found it working. And I found that what we're doing, it works. So why should you be cruel if you could be kind and it works? If you could use the Yud Gimel Midas Harachamim and have self-control, because you can't control someone else.
Right.
You have self-control. It's like
So that's the misnomer of enabling.
right.
I don't control. You get chinuch
Well, they think
till 13.
Yeah, but they think
and
that
even
if-
some people say 9, some people say 3. You
Right.
don't have control. It's another human being.
Okay, good.
I enable you. It's such an
if they don't have
arrogant
money, they
thing.
can't buy cigarettes.
Right.
You're giving them money to buy cigarettes. Would you buy them cigarettes?
Me?
Yeah.
Well, I go case by case, but yeah. I'll just say yeah.
So the
It's in
psychology.
No, but let me tell you a story about enabling. We'll talk about psychology in 1 second. I just think it's a funny story, and I want you to hear
We
it.
got to get this out.
No, you're gonna like it because this is like,
Dude.
this is the juicy stuff that I only get to tell people. Oh, now I'm telling everybody.
Just
but-
between us.
Just between us.
Talking shop.
It is talking shop. What happened? So it was a period of time where, people were coming at me, parents, professionals. There's a beautiful thing about me. Everybody's like, I love Sonny Perlman, but he's wrong. Like that's, what I'm saying? Like there's like that. They can't pin me down for being a bad guy. So they don't want to be, but they're like, he's wrong. But there was a lot of like getting enough from this.
Yeah.
So I get a lot time period. I don't know, it was about 6-7 months of people like just going at me, enabling, but you know, enabling. So I just like, and by the way, Chaim Glantz told me, this is the policy, and I'm sure you have the same policy. Chaim said, and this is the policy of our place and our village and any other place. A fight takes 2 people. There is no response to any fight against our place, what we do, what it is. They could say whatever they want. We will not defend it. We will not argue. You could keep going, and we'll keep helping kids. There's no thing that's happening. And what I found,
I have the same exact policy, and
right.
we have the same exact enemies.
Same exact enemies, right? So the beauty, when I was young and angry, I was like ready to go to war, and then I realized that there would be like a story in the newspaper. Our place kids,
You're ruining quality show.
And I get all this, and I'm like, we have to say something. And I
Right.
say nothing, and then next week, no one remembers it.
Right.
It's old news,
Right.
and it kept happening over and over. And all the people yelling. You'll never hear me saying anything bad about
Anybody,
people
right?
who's ever said anything bad about me. I'm just not part of it. And that's a policy I learned from Chaim. And I don't think I would have got this myself. Chaim told me, this is our policy. That's what we do. I get very upset if I see like even my staff like saying something. I'm like, this is not what we do.
In my group in Twisted Parenting, so parents come to me after years of getting advice that didn't work and was harmful. It's very easy. I know every therapist and every psychologist and every psychiatrist that messed up, and all the people that mess up, and all the everything. And my policy is there is no talking about anybody. It's all history. We have work to do. There's no negativity. I don't want to hear about it. I don't want to hear about it. And I find that there's really 2 groups, even though one group is significantly better, of people who has time to criticize other people. Who has time for this? I get called all the time. What do you think about this? What do you think about that? I said, well, I would need to take off 2 years of my life to sit there to see how many people it helps, it doesn't help, and to do like a internal revenue service, send in the IRS guys to figure out the books. How is this company doing? You want to know based on what? Based on what? If anybody gives an opinion about somebody else, I know he messed up 2 people. Did he help 1,000? Then it's only 0.2%. Did he help only 4 people? Then it's 50%. You have to know so much. I don't have time for this.
Right.
So I could say with a clean heart that I've never spoken about anybody else doing anything. Period. Only the good guys. And I think most of us are that way. And then unfortunately there's a few people that
Yeah, but they look like the bad guys if you don't respond. It's really nice. But the story goes is that after I was just like, I didn't know what to do with my, like, I was just like angry. Like, what? You're just coming at me and I'm just trying to help people. That's what I'm trying to do. I'm not trying to do anything. I'm not trying to hurt you, your kids, or nothing. I'm just trying to help to the best of my abilities. And this is what works in what I see. So I don't know what else to do but do that. And I wasn't making no money or anything, but they're coming at me, right? So I'm not allowed to respond. But our place has a letterhead, which we send out very little, like professional mail or anything like that. But we have a letterhead, and when we send it out, organization. So I changed it to our place, enabling resilience. I just put the word in.
Beautiful.
I was like,
that's your nakama on the world.
It was nakama. Nobody knew about it. No one ever mentioned it to me. No one ever saw it.
It's just for yourself.
It was just for myself.
Enabling
every
resilience.
time I made an email, every time I did that.
I'm going to use that.
You can use it.
Because people, I think like, what are you hitting me with here? What do you think I'm doing? If this failed, I wouldn't continue doing it. I give the advice that I see works. We had a kid, Rebellia Brudney sent me this family flatbush. They had a kid, he was struggling, he started struggling and struggling and more struggling and more struggling, more at risk. And finally, he sat him down. He was the oldest of 8, Shivisha family. And they said, listen, we have 3 rules. Forget about all, we used to have 100 rules, right? We asked 90, 80, 70. We're down to 3 rules. You cannot come down.
One second.
You want to know what they are? You can guess? Yeah, sure.
Sorry.
Of course you can guess.
Yarmulke.
Of course.
Okay, yarmulke. Yarmulke, you got to wear a yarmulke.
Dumbest one.
Dumbest of them all. Hold on.
But we understand why. Yeah.
I want to say come to the Shabbos meal or something like that.
No.
Okay, I'm going with just yarmulke. You tell me the rest.
No, come on. You got it. You could do this. He's the oldest of 8. There's little kids around. You can't
curse.
Can't curse.
How
could you curse? You have a little 4-year-old kid saying, pass me the effing
soda.
Okay.
Is that the 3rd?
No, it was close. You can't walk around just in underwear without an undershirt.
In your dungarees.
No dungarees. In your underpants.
Okay, I don't even know what
in your boxers. You can't walk around like that. You can't walk around like that. And what you will get is you could live here. We're not asking for much. We gave up on everything. Shabbos, kashrus. We gave up on everything. You're doing drugs, girls. All we want, please, wear yarmulke, which is so not in that whole category. It should have been your thing. Keep Shabbos, whatever. Yeah. Don't break Shabbos in front of the other kids. Fine. All this kind of stuff, right? And they wrote a contract. I love that when parents. I mean, I can't say I love that because I'm laughing at people's tsar. When people go on ahead and they sign a contract. What happens is, and I always explain this to the parents, when you sign a contract, you're used to signing contracts that have meaning. So when you want to buy a house, you go to contract. It means the negotiation is done. You came to terms. You signed the contract. You drink a l'chaim. We're good. Okay, relax. Parents sign a contract with their kid, and 10 minutes later, the guy breaks all the rules of the contract, and they're like, but we signed the contract. How could you do that? It was notarized. We had lawyers here. They don't understand. So they signed a contract, and Gimel Averis Chamuris Bavas Achas within a day.
It's almost like a skit.
Yeah,
like he came down in his underwear, cursing without his yarmulke.
Right, exactly. that is like check. Yeah, so they locked the door.
And dropped the mic.
So exactly. Now I know. Thank you for letting me know what I need to do for you to kick me out. So he did it. They locked him out. So now this kid is homeless in Flatbush, literally homeless. So Rebellia Shlitas Lazangazun sent the parents to me, and I taught them how to enable their kid. And like many of the kids, he's now he's married, he's in Kollel learning in Eretz Yisrael with a mishpacha. Because I said, look where not enabling gets you. I said, you don't want your kid to wear a yarmulke. You want your kid to want to wear a yarmulke. How do you change the ratzon? As long as they're doing something for you, you're not working ratzon. You're not working that they should ever want to embrace it. You want him to not curse. I get it because of the other kids. I really get it. His sister, who was a year younger than him, came to my office when I did a training for therapists. We had 100 people in the room. And she spoke. She said, I did not believe this. It's not humanly possible that a kid who curses and walks around in their underpants and he curses every sentence basically feels like it is the F word. How is it possible that after my parents got him this gift that Avi told him to get and wrote these words and wrote these letters and took away the 3 rules, how is it possible that within 1 week he stopped cursing completely? She goes, even if I want to work on myself and not say Lashon Hara, I'm going to end up slipping up. I went on diets and I end up messing up. How could he, with his mind, say, I'm not going to curse anymore and actually stick to it after talking that way for so long? Miracles. Because there was no fight. Because they just want to be embraced and held. And that's why we don't call Shomim and Hatzalah. A friend of mine is the head of Shomim in Flatbush. She has 20 guys that are trained in domestic violence. I asked them, how many calls do you get a week from parents fighting with their teens? A lot.
A lot.
How many do you get from TP parents that are under my training fighting with their teens? 0.
Yeah, that I believe.
0. They're happy. They're calm. They feel loved. That builds the resilience. And they don't need this stuff eventually. And they say, I can handle this now. And as soon as they can, they will. As soon as they can, they will. Nobody gets hit by a truck and is in a head-to-toe cast, is lying there for a year, and they're bringing food and feeding the guy, and they're bringing him his phone if you want to watch something 24/7. They take care of you. You don't have to work. You don't have to do anything. After a year, the guy's like, he's healed, and he's like, you know what? I think I just want to lie here. I think I'm just going to continue lying here because I have such a good life, because everybody's enabling me. And they're bringing me food, and they put the straw in me, and then they give me a massage. Why should I go to work? Why should I get married, have a family, whatever? Why should I function? Never happened in the history of the world. You will get out of that bed so fast when you can. When anybody is not in pain anymore, and they can get a hold of their life, and that does not happen by stopping them from numbing themselves. And sometimes, of course, you have to be under real expert opinion when it comes to heroin and stuff like that, and et cetera, et cetera. But basically, we're talking about what heals the cancer, not what controls the person who has cancer. What heals it is chemo. Emotional chemo is what you're discussing. And if your parents give you that, then the kids have a chance. I say it like this. Where's the problem? Where's it located? All the at risk and all the off the derech and all the drugs and all the trauma and all the pain, all the people suicidal and people misunderstood and acting out, everything. Where is it? Can you please tell me, where is it? Is it in the elbow? Is it in their brain? Because the first message is, it's not in their brain because they're not dumb. They're not too stupid to figure out that nighttime is the time to sleep and daytime is the time to get up. They're not so dumb that they think that drugs is a good life. They're not dumb. They're not missing Havana, understanding, or Yediyah, knowledge. That's why most people, let's tell them, teach them, show them. It doesn't help. They know everything.
Right.
So where is this problem? It's not in the physical body.
So what do you say it is?
It's emotions.
Right.
The whole problem is
Where are
emotional.
emotions?
Yeah, it beats me. I'm a guy. I don't know. I always say this is like the women have this thing called emotions, but guys, we don't know what emotions are.
Where are these
I
emotions?
don't know. And why is it that until 30 years ago, most people did not have emotions and didn't explode, and most people were fine, and now everybody has emotions, and everybody's so feely, and everybody's like, they can't sleep, and they can't... Why is this a problem now that it wasn't 30 years ago? Do you know? I have no clue. What happened?
I know.
Shimon has a theory on this.
Yeah, what's Shimon's theory?
He says that in the 60s, they popped the lid off of deference to elders, and that opened up that people could express themselves. Instead of, he said that the deference to elders in a classroom, it kept your emotions there because you couldn't express yourself because then you'd get potch, and that kept people like that. That's his thing. What's your thing?
I go back further than the 60s. That's the truth. Listen, everybody always had emotions in the world. Emotions exist in us. The problem today is that emotions are overwhelming us and taking over.
Correct.
So they talked about sadness in the Tehillim. You know what I'm saying? Like this is not new.
Of course.
Being sad or anxious. So we have it all. I mean, David HaMelech wrote about it. This is not new. This is thousands of years old. The problem is really that it's taken over. Mm-hmm. And from what I could tell, And I always go back to community. That's really where I always go to, because and you add to that, meaning in the idea of parents, which is the most crucial part of the community. But I always go back to the community idea, which I think it's the real breakdown of community in the Western world. And if the more Western you get, the more this issue seems to be exploding. Like if you're in Africa in a village, it's not, emotions is not so much the issue.
Right. Gaza has like zero dependency, alcohol dependency,
yeah,
no drugs.
It's not, and that's what I'm saying. With the pain, it's not, I believe that it started at the Industrial Revolution. The Industrial Revolution is they created these factories where people left these small towns and went to the city. And it became a thing that you leave home and you move away. So the village is done. So what happens is it's almost like loserish. Man, you think about where you grew up, right? I don't know, you grew up in Brooklyn originally? No.
Queens.
The people that stayed there, it's almost like weird now. It's like, what you still there? A little like old town? But in the old days, no one ever went anywhere. They didn't go 50 miles from the house in their entire lifetime. We do this on one Tesla charge. It's nothing. maybe even 60 miles if you have a really good Tesla. No, I'm kidding around. But what I'm saying is they didn't move away. They stuck around. And what the problem with emotions is that I don't believe that 2 people is enough people to raise a child. If you had 2 great parents, but you don't have the grandparents around and the uncles and the aunts and the brothers and the sisters and everybody around to handle them, everybody ends up feeling lacking. I can't express. So the guy, someone was telling me today, I worked in rehab. The problem was I was the therapist, but I also was the one drug testing, and I was also the one, there was nowhere to like actually express yourself. But in the old days, everybody had a bubby in the house. Everybody had it's like back to the 60s thing. It's been breaking down over time. In the 60s, it broke down even more. But it's been breaking down over time that you don't even have a house with a grandparent in it anymore. Uncles and aunts don't live down the block. They don't live on the same block. They don't live nearby. So you have no way. So it's 2 people trying to fill the entire tank. And what ends up happening is you just start feeling unworthy. It goes back to that idea. People hurt you, but I have no one to go to. Maybe I could go to my parent who's overwhelmed because he's got 3 jobs. And I got to maybe go there, but I don't have uncles. I don't have aunts. I don't have anything. So what I'm saying is again, it's not really about the pain. It's about what I do with the pain. If my tank is full and there's enough people standing around me and saying, we got you, I can handle whatever you throw at me.
I've seen that. I saw that with my eyes because when I opened Home SWEEEET Home, I knew nothing. And I never thought they're going to go clean, stay clean. And all we did was fill up the tank.
That's it.
And it's crazy because like I remember the first 10 guys, like first 3 guys and the next 3 guys, they left clean. Nobody's ever gone back unless there was one guy that had additional trauma afterwards. Sad story, but nobody's ever gone back to the street. Even that guy's not on the street. Nobody's gone back to drugs. And they left from. And I was like, there was no Yiddishkeit in the program. There was no Shachris, no Mincha, no Marev, no paying anybody to do anything. Nothing Yiddish, no learning, nothing. Nothing. It wasn't part of the program. And they wanted to be from, and they left with hats and jackets within a year. Almost 90%. And I'm like, hat, a jacket, why? I'll be happy with Shabbos, kashrus. Why are you eating kosher? And this happened in front of us without discussing it. And it wasn't on my agenda. And I've had kids. I remember when Chaim brought me a kid from our place. Real tough kid.
Okay.
Real tough kid. And he showed him the house and he goes, so what happens if I burn the place down? So I looked at him, I said, well, I'll still have a house to live in, but you won't. Like, why would you burn down your own house? This is yours. He goes, I did a little research, and the first 10 guys, everybody who moved, there were 10 at the time. That's why I keep thinking 10. Everybody who left, he left from. So I looked him in the eye and I said, listen to me. I promise you, that was a mistake. He was like, what do you mean a mistake? I said, I had no idea and I don't know why they became from. I promise you, I will not pressure you in any way to be from. I just want you to be successful. I just want you to keep a job and have fun and feel good. That's all I want. I want you to be happy. That's all I care about. And it was really true. I never thought, and the people on both sides of the aisle were asking questions. Our rule was no drugs. They had to stop the day they moved in. How do you stop? Some kids were smoking weed day and night. Some kids were doing cocaine. Some kids were doing party drugs. We didn't have crack, heroin, that level.
Right.
Just
That's for me.
That's for you, sweetie. I will leave that for you. But everybody was considered, almost all of them would be for sure considered.
Every rehab would take them.
Every rehab would take them for sure.
Yeah.
And violence and cursing and the whole spiral. One kid one of them lived in an empty truck in a Walmart. He found an empty truck. And when the D train closed down, he said, I feel nostalgia because I used to sleep on that train. The other kid was homeless. I mean, these kids were homeless, getting thrown out of psych wards. Every rehab would take them for sure. And they all got clean the day they moved in. And then they go back to drugs. Physically, how does that work? Emotionally, how does that work? How do you never go back to the street? We had a success rate that every rehab dreams of, and I hope someone out there will replicate Home Sweet Home.
I replicated it.
Yeah, you did in the village. and then they all became frum. So like, why? Why? And both sides of the aisle. The addiction people are like scratching their head, like, how'd you do that? The frum people who want to be Makarov, like, how are you Makarov all these kids? And the answer to both of them was, I have no clue. All I know is that I really, truly don't look down at them. I really, truly don't judge them. I really, truly believe in them. I know that I trust them, that I don't need to know why. I don't need to know. I don't need to see it. I just believe in you. And we're going to get through this together. And then when the volunteers came every night, Sunday night a group, Monday night a group, I had a different group every night. Just so fast.
Because you created a village.
Because we created a village.
I was saying that's when you're asking me why emotions have taken over. Emotions are all fine. We all have emotions,
Right.
but if I'm empty, that emotion becomes the only thing I can think about. Now I have an anxiety disorder. Disorder means I can't function because this emotion has taken over. It's having a tantrum.
Right.
I'm having depression. Chronic depression.
So if you have two parents that are giving you pride, so you're saying we wouldn't have depression?
I think that we would have different levels of emotions that are going on. One guy would be sadder than another guy.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about to the level of
let's
ruining
go
your life.
to actual numbers.
Ruining your life. Okay.
The actual numbers.
Here we go. Everybody,
these
ladies
third-
and gentlemen,
the
from
third-
Sonny Perlman. It's
right.
being released
The
today.
third world countries, which you call the low-income countries, the rates of mental health issues are rock bottom low.
Well, you know what they say. Depression is the luxury of the upper class.
Well, but why?
Because they just can't. They're
It's
busy
not because
working.
they're rich. Everybody's like, oh, because we're giving them everything. It's not.
No.
We don't have a village. Why do I have a pool and my next door neighbor has a pool and they have a pool? We should have one community pool. Everybody jumps into the water. It shouldn't be a pool. It should be a hole in the ground.
This is being revealed
Everybody
right
jumps
here.
on.
The way to cure all of our problems is community pools.
It's a start. Listen,
It's so true.
the more,
Not the
listen,
pool part.
what did you offer when you go into Home Sweet Home? It felt like magic. But what it was is 20 people, 50 people,
Yeah.
all saying, you're worthy.
Right.
And we're here.
Right.
And nothing you're going to do is going to break us.
Right.
We got you. We're your net. We're your strength. We're your rock. We're your biggest cheerleaders. With that strength, that's what community gives us. With that strength, I could handle anything you bring at me.
Yeah.
That's the point. Yeah. I mean, even my staff fights me. I'm serious. They're like, I don't understand. Shouldn't we be like breaking down? I'm like, we're not focused on that. In our village, the way it works, when a guy, when a guy wants to move on? When he yells at me, please let me move forward. They're so frustrated that I'm giving them so much. They're like, I want to do more. I want jobs. I want to work. I want to do it. They'll yell at you if they feel full. They want out so bad. Like you said, the guy doesn't want to stay in the cast.
Right.
Nobody wants it. So I look at someone's bed, and it's a mess. Most rehabs, make your bed. when I see a bed that's a mess, I know he's still hurting.
Right.
That's how I know.
Right.
Well, you're gonna take away my sign? I know there's a bed. Oh, he's gonna, and a guy comes to me. Oh, this guy broke the rules. And I say to my staff, you now need to spend an extra hour with him. They don't want to tell me anymore. This guy's struggling. I'm like, oh my God, he did that?
He needs medicine.
He needs 2 more
He needs medicine.
hours of you.
Exactly. It's like,
Right.
wow, he even broke the rules. He's even more desperate for your love than I thought. I guess we really got to start giving the medicine. I just had a call today with parents, and Bez Hashem, they're going to be fine. But their kid really just got messed up and did this and that. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you really got to double down on what we're doing with this kid, because there's only one medicine. There is no other medicine. There is no other medicine. Control, external control, doesn't give the medicine.
No.
That's the thing. Even if it would work to control the person, they have a cancer that's growing. Heal the cancer. How do you know if you're doing a good job? Because the behavior gets better. They become more functional. Because as soon as they can, they will. So how are we supposed to do it? So I get parents, I'm like, I'm so sorry that nobody ever told you that you are the only solution, the quickest solution, the cheapest solution to saving your child from whatever they're going through. Because one hug from a tati, I said, you don't need to send your kid to Utah. He doesn't need Utah. He needs you-ta. You know that I've never needed to send a kid out of the house. I've never needed any boot camps. And they say, oh, I was against boot camps. I'm not. You send a kid to boot camp when the escalation is so high. But I know how to de-escalate. And once you de-escalate it, the parents don't want to send the kids. They don't call frantic. And you don't need to send, ever. I never sent a kid to boot camp. Because that's because of a lack of knowing how to treat the kid. Treat the human to get him off that ledge. Oh my gosh, he's going to stab his father. Really? You know what that means? That he doesn't know how much his father cares about him. You know what the solution is? Let's tell him how much you care about him. Why should you cry at the levaya? Tell your kid now everything that you would say at the levaya. I'm so sorry I wasn't there for you. I'm so sorry I didn't protect you. I'm so sorry I judged you wrong. I'm so sorry I didn't believe in you. I wish you were here for 1 minute. I wouldn't stop hugging you. Every parent feels that way inside. And there's so many layers that get covered on top of that. And meanwhile, those layers from the bad behavior of the kid, I get it. And the embarrassment and the not knowing, I get it. And the destruction, I get it. I feel the pain of parents. But that's blocking you from giving the only chemo that exists to actually heal the cancer, the emotional cancer that these people are going through. And when you give that emotional thing, and you need help doing it, that's why I hold parents' hands for years, day and night, just like you do. And that's what happened was, Hashem sent me these parents, and there was an overlap. In 2009, parents started coming to me. Without me advertising, I did not want to speak to parents. Without knowing each other, all of a sudden I got calls, literally pushing themselves on me. So many of them just went away when I said, I'm sorry, give me your kid. I love the kids. I hate you parents. Like, give me your crazy kids. Let me help them. And then parents just started finding their way to me. And then after I hit 30, 40, 50 parents, I realized, hey, instead of helping a handful of kids every year, I could actually...
Is that happening in this house?
Sounds like a fire alarm.
Does it go off?
I can actually, instead of helping, a handful of kids a year, I could help 50, 60, 70 of kids by teaching their parents how to make their home sweet. And that's why I closed Home SWEEEET Home in 2014 when it was full-blown TP. And that's what I'm doing. I'm teaching you the secret of every...
You say TP just for people
Twisted parenting.
Yeah, okay.
I don't remember how we got stuck with the name. I don't even remember who thought of it, but that's the name that stuck. But that's the chip. The only thing that heals the person is feeling beloved. Beloved. I am crazy about, but how can I do it? He's this, he's that. First of all, they wouldn't be this and that if he felt it all along.
Yeah.
I know people who, as their kids, good families, as their kids spiraled, the parents never did anything wrong at all with the kid. And the kid never became so extreme. The kid went through their bad times, was out of school, did not become a street kid, did not do violence. So many nice, smart people now, it's going to happen more and more, going to put me and you out of business.
Be nice.
Intelligent parents.
I don't think it will until we get villages.
Emotionally, well, I agree with you.
It's too much for parents.
Well, I agree with you so much. But once they see the kid is struggling and they're emotionally intelligent and they know what to do and they know that only my emotional love, right, is going to heal the kid and stop them from, God forbid, becoming an addict, God forbid, being suicidal and all of that, right? I have a statistic for you, Sonny.
Yeah.
Believe on her. Times a million.
Whatever. The house burns down. This is the best conversation ever.
Tune in after the commercial, after the fire
We
trucks.
have no idea if this house is burning down.
Here's my statistic for you.
Yeah.
I've helped approximately 1,000 families, not home sweet home kids, parents,
That's wild. I'm just saying that.
not one suicide. I never had a suicide. Because when you have parents who believe in you and understand you and understand this concept, imagine this is your favorite kid. It usually once was. And I still make you feel, just like if a kid is physically ill, no parent says, you're not my favorite kid anymore. How can I love him? He's just lying there. He doesn't put on tefillin. No, he has cancer. He's physically ill. One x-ray with one spot, we know exactly what to do. We shoot our pride and our love and I love you and I'll miss you. Everything. There's nothing negative. If we had an x-ray, please somebody invent an emotional x-ray. What would that x-ray show about the essence of these people? Shattered. Shattered. So emotionally intelligent parents who never turn on their kid, those kids don't have to fall all the way down. The spiral is much less. They might not be able to function for a while. They'll get back much quicker. They're never street kids because they're always home. The parents, even if they didn't have the ability to boost them, they focus on it. This kid needs the emotional chemo. Please, someone invent an emotional thermometer. I don't know where you'll stick it. Stick it somewhere and you'll be like, oh my God, this kid is burning up. Because if a kid has fever, we know exactly what to do. You're not going to school. I don't let you go to school. Stay home. I'll give you ice cream. You can come. Comes Friday night in the middle of the Suda after having fever for 3 days. Comes in his pajamas or his on, and we say, "Chaim, great to see you."
Do you know I have the best marshal for you?
Oh, I just want to finish.
Yeah, sorry.
But a kid who wants to die, and you're laughing while I'm saying this.
I don't mean to laugh. I take it
Bad
seriously.
timing. Kid who wants to die and is suffering from depression comes down to Shabbos table. That's the way you come to Shabbos table. Know who you're dealing with. Understand this child is suffering and struggling. It's not that I don't teach my kids how to dress at the Shabbos table. And if you have friends over and they'll say, like, that's the way you let your kids come to the Shabbos table, and you said, no, he has COVID. He has the flu. He's not feeling well. Oh. It's not a chinuch problem, right? But if a kid wants to die, that's the way. No, if we just naturally treat people the way that we would if they were physically ill, we don't judge them. I'm too weak. I can't. We don't say, yeah, you could. I'm going to push you. You're going to take advantage of me. No. We trust our children when they say, I can't. I don't feel well. I have fever. Whatever it is. Why don't we trust them when they say, I'm depressed? So we think, I could fix this, because it's love. We want to fix them. Come and you'll feel better. You feel worse and you'll feel better if you do that. Yeah, every fat person knows they'll feel better if they lose weight. Every depressed person knows you feel better when you go to the gym. It's true. But you need energy to do that.
The problem is it's invisible. That's the
Ta-da!
problem. So you're talking about, I had this thing, I actually was speaking at, it was the Shabbaton that you were connected with. And I don't know the situation, but I was saying I was speaking and I said that we should have flags that say TP flags, just like in the like, you put in the, like just in the lawn, like, because I showed up to the Shabbaton and there were 4 people on the block and all 4 of them didn't know that they had kids struggling. All 4 of the people on the block were like, what? And they're on the same block. They all know each other. And everybody's sitting there in silence like I have a broken kid, and without realizing that this is sickness the same way there's physical sickness or cancer.
But these were not TP parents.
These were not TP because
exactly.
They were people that were struggling with
kids
and didn't realize because it's invisible.
Because one of the biggest milas of the parents who come to me is that everybody will know. because I encourage them. You walk outside with your kid. You put your arm around your daughter not wearing proper clothing or your son not wearing a yarmulke or whatever, and you walk around the block 3 times. Zeh kaparasi, zeh chalifasi, zeh tmurasi.
Yeah.
And then you never have to look over your shoulder again. And your kid knows my tati's proud of me. My mommy's proud of me. You just saved 2 years of therapy.
I agree. But while you're saying, I was thinking, I always used to, people get upset at me again with the same of the
People
neighbor.
get upset at you?
Yeah. But Camp Simcha, it's just such an awesome camp.
Ugh, I hate Camp Simcha. They enable those kids.
Right.
It's
They
terrible.
told me that they have a canteen where kids can go and get any candy they want.
Any candy they want.
All the candy
They're
they
going to
want.
get sick from it. You know
I
what?
was like, what bad chinuch.
Right? They're
This-
craving.
this is a kid.
Don't they know that these kids are craving boundaries? They're craving boundaries. And that's why they don't get better over there.
All right.
Terrible.
All right. You want some questions?
Yeah, I also heard over there they give you a ramp for your wheelchair. Why would anybody walk if they're willing? I mean, it's ridiculous. And it's really this. We see this so clear. This is the
I
same
see
thing.
it so clear, and
emotionally.
I'm willing to take, the
All right.
the abuse. Oh no! Don't tell me this thing is moving slow.
I very much tuned into what you said before. How when I started getting in the beginning, people questioning me. I'm like, I'm just trying to help people. I don't charge. I give them money. I dedicate myself, and you don't even have ideas that work. And the only reason they're coming to me, especially in the beginning, is because they're falling through the cracks of your entire system. So they're bankrupt. They don't know where to go. I get calls, Avi, you got to save me. Nothing else worked. They went to your therapist. They went to your psychologist. They went to your psychiatrist. And the kid's refusing to take medication, or they're drinking while they're on medication. And they put the kid in Utah boot camps. We have families who did that.
Yeah.
And we did this, and now they have nobody in the world. They're doing it my way, and they're successful. What exactly is your problem?
Okay, well, let me tell you some of the problems.
All right, let's do it.
You ready for some problems?
Yeah.
My problem when I was excited about doing a podcast with you is that I am so in love with your method and you that I was like, let's get what the world is saying. Let's see. And then I could ask those questions. You could deal with them. I felt in my brain answering them myself, but I would refuse to answer them and make you answer them. Just because. All right. So how can you diagnose a child without ever meting them?
Oh, great question.
I love it.
That's a fantastic
You have
question.
to answer it.
Yeah, no, I get this all the time. It's first of all, I want to start off by putting it out there that there's a tremendous quest for knowledge. We have to stop shooting arrows at people. We have to start sharing information like we do. We could disagree. Menschlich, Ehrlich. We have a quest for knowledge. We want to fix the problem. We want to heal kids. We want to save lives. And I know the people that are on that team. I would never say anything negative about anybody. And whenever somebody tells me they want to open this organization, I always say, go, go, go. And I help them. And I'll give you the first donation. And whatever, may not be a lot,
You've
but
always
it is.
supported me on every new crazy idea I have.
100%. 100%. And but did you hear what if I want to hear, I will sit down with the guy for, like I said, 2 years, I will really understand. People like to take cheap shots at people. So I just want to say that anybody out there, I always say, go help. There's so much need. Just jump in the water. People drowning. Jump in. You'll help this way. You'll help this way. Everyone help the way that you want. So I'll answer this question. And the reason I gave that hakdama.
I'm not involved. It's wild. I wait 2 years for a conversation with Avi, and
It's
this is what
okay.
you give me.
It's such a heated conversation that the smoke alarms are going off in Sonny's house. This is hot stuff.
I really hope the house isn't burning that.
It's a great way to go, Sonny.
It's not a great way. All right. Okay.
The
how do
answer
you
is-
diagnose? Yeah.
Oh, no, I wanted to say as hakdama. If you're a professional out there, I open myself to people. I speak to people all the time. Call me up, have a discussion. I do a 2-day training. I open up to professionals. I've had at least 100 professionals. And if you think I'm doing something wrong, I'm not married to anything. Come in, sit in group, speak to group. The reason I stopped listening to people is because really the top layer of Klal Yisrael's professionals have been by me and have seen and testified that I'm doing something right and it's working. So I'm not so nispoil anymore. But I want you, the one who asked this question, to understand properly everything that I do. I'm the most accessible person. I would say Kamat never went to sleep without returning everybody's phone call from the parents that are under my care.
That's way better than me.
Right? And I don't have anybody now waiting for my phone call on the way up. I had a few voicemails and friends of mine I'm on top of everything. I'm very accessible. If someone has a question, sit with me. Anyway, I don't diagnose the kid. I am there to give the parents, through their eyes and ears, that they should know how to deal with that kid. Now, originally, I thought that this is a very small part of the equation. The kid has addiction and bad and whatever, but the parents don't know how to deal with the kid. So I'm going to teach the parents how to deal with the kid, and I'm only doing this part. How do you know what to do? Well, the parents don't know what to do. They report to me the behavior. We discuss the best way for the parents to deal with the behavior, and then we're giving the kid the best possible parents for his situation. So the parents aren't making it worse. So the parents aren't throwing the kid out. So the parents are not doing all the stuff that kills people, literally kills people. That's why I have not one homeless person. You know what? I have another statistic I want to drop.
All right.
Thank you, Hashem. I don't have one kid in the jail system. If you have parents who are crazy about you in spite of your bad behavior and problems, you don't end up in jail. And I had kids stealing when they came to me. I had kids who were violent. A kid put a knife to his parents. Well, how do you do it and you don't lock them up? I know how to fix the problem. If I'm crazy about you, you don't want to stab me. You don't need to do crime if you have parents who are doing what I'm giving them such an extreme amount of fun and love and all of that. They stop. I had parents who were poor. When I say poor, you open up their cabinets, no food. No food. The kid found a great way to make a living, selling drugs. All of a sudden, he has dollars. This kid never had any money. Family doesn't have any money. He has dollars, $100 bills, 5, 6, 7, 8. He's making money. Why should that kid ever stop? The parents listened to what I said. In a very short time, the kid stopped, because you cannot sell drugs for a living if you have self-esteem. If you feel you're worthy, if you feel the whole world is against me and everybody thinks I'm a nothing and I'm in the underworld, I don't care. I'll sell drugs. You need to be a broken person, angry at the world, abandoned by everybody who should be there for you, to sell drugs. We reverse that. And I don't have any drug dealers. I don't have anybody in jail. I don't have violence. And I'm talking about with parents, when they come to me, the violence goes away fairly quickly. I had one, for the parents who are buying me, it is one parent that came every week, and the kid was really, really, because he was messing with his drugs and whatever. And Baruch Hashem, there's no more violence. But they went through the longest period of real torture. It was terrible. Right. And everybody said, give up on the kid. And I said, listen, the parents, you can give up whenever you want. As long as you want to continue trying, I will tell you how to respond. The kids were terrible. He called his father Nazi. How do you call your father a Nazi? His grandparents were killed in the Holocaust by Nazis. Called him, and you're chewing too loud, all these things and breaking stuff and whatever. And now he's calm. Calm. So we have the medicine of what internally does that. So
you're not diagnosing the kid.
I never diagnosed the kid.
Good parents.
Yeah. That's just a misunderstanding of the whole sugi of everything that I'm doing. I never diagnosed the kid. I give him a mom and a dad that believe in him more than anybody in the world, compliment him more than anybody out there can compliment him or her. There should be nobody that compliments your daughter more than you, mommy, and especially daddy. When you have male affection, that's what saves our kids from it saves them. It's a layer of protection against you.
There's a lot of studies to prove that.
Oh, well, I happen to have one. My whole life, last 20 years. Okay, so I'm not diagnosed. How can I diagnose a kid if I never meet the kid? But here's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
Who is diagnosing the kid with meeting the kid? Because they're the ones getting it wrong. Because I have so much studies. And again, I wish someone could just please call the people who I've helped. I have their numbers. Ask them their stories. Ask them how many kids were misdiagnosed. I don't misdiagnose because I don't diagnose. But I'm amazed. I never thought kids are not going to really be depressed. Kids are really not going to be, how about this? I'll drop this one on you.
Okay.
And this happens consistently. And I have no reason to exaggerate or to say that this happens because I have no benefit If it didn't happen, it wouldn't mean anything to me. Kids who are diagnosed with bipolar. So this family that came to me, very wealthy, their daughter was diagnosed with bipolar by 4 psychiatrists, not on insurance. They paid out of pocket. You can't get better than that. And you know the guys, because it's the same guys that get referred by whatever. Fine. I have no reason to care if she has bipolar or not. There are people with bipolar, right?
Right.
Right. Parents came to me, as with, I'm the only guy that exaggerates the other way. Because if I say 100%, people say, oh, it can't be. So
Don't say 100%.
I'll say 80%.
Okay, good. You never say 100%.
I'll say 50%.
Nobody believes 100%.
Nobody believes me. It's terrible. I have to lie the other way. 50%.
Lie a little bit.
Can you imagine 50% of them?
I just got a 75% statistic on something, and I was like, write 74.
Right.
Lie a little down.
You have to. We have to
right.
lie the opposite way.
It sounds too good.
But you know what? I feel like I have to tell the truth, because there are so many people there that are suffering with kids who are having diagnosis. And I've spoken to psychologists, psychiatrists, and they said, Avi, it's impossible. I'm just telling you what happened. Within 3 years, she was off all medication, and the same psychiatrist said, well, I don't know, she doesn't have it.
It's a miracle.
It's a miracle. And this happens consistently. Now, here's the thing. Psychiatrists are not a prophet. They're not a navi. It's not a physical thing. They judge you based on your behavior.
Right.
If you're in trauma, you're going to look like everything. Take them out of trauma. How much mental illness, I have 1,000 parents with their kids have every mental illness in the world. And then you look at them, the ones who, well, I think they're all doing really well, but some really excel. It's gone. Why? Because they never had mental illness, because they had trauma. And or maybe what we're doing heals mental illness. I don't know. I don't care. So I'm actually not diagnosing anyone, but I'm dealing with parents who have so many diagnoses for their kids based on the way the kids are behaving. Sure, that's what it looks like.
Right.
That's not what it is. In fact, every kid pretty much is diagnosed with BPD.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Borderline personality. You know what borderline personality disorder looks exactly like? Someone who is in trauma.
Oh yeah, I had a professor that didn't even believe in BPD, and she believed in complex PTSD. Like, it's just complex PTSD.
Our enemy is PTSD. Our enemy is trauma. Our enemy is pain. Take them out of pain. How come? Explain to me.
I don't know how you explain psychosis, but I'll
I can get to it, but I don't deal with psychosis.
Yeah, I know what I'm saying.
But
like that one, I agree with everything you're saying besides just psychosis.
I'll tell you off camera what I think psychosis is based on my opinion. I'm not going to say it in front of camera because it's not for me to say.
Okay.
Now, I forgot my train of thought.
No, because you were taking BPD.
This is so geschmack.
Okay.
We're getting the sugi over here.
Yeah.
Almost every kid who's acting crazy is going to be diagnosed with BPD. And within a year,
Guys also?
It's a very girly thing. I know, more girly, right? Guys get more violent. Guys get narcissists. And all this stuff evaporates because when someone is traumatized and is going through trauma, feels like nothing, and is going through, especially in the teen years or the young adult years, and I don't know why the ages are dropping. I don't understand this. We opened our place. You opened our place. There was 20-year-olds smoking cigarettes and having a beer. Now you have 12-year-olds that are sticking their arms. What's going on over here? I get calls about 10-year-olds. They're acting like 15-year-olds. They're cursing their parents. Drop dead. You effing. I'm like, whoa. Don't you have to be at least 14 to say that?
Right.
The age keeps dropping. I don't know why. But bottom line is, here's my question. The other side, from the other people who believe in therapy, they believe in psychology, they believe in psychiatry, all the psychiatrists that are out there, that you're diagnosing kids and you're giving them medicine, fine. You're not, you know that just because they're behaving this way doesn't mean it's an actual illness. You're saying what they look like. They look depressed. They're behaving depressed.
Right.
So they probably have depression. I'm going to give you medicine. How does that feel? See, that's what, when you have a healthy adult and they're 40 years old and they start not being able to get up in the morning. Okay, so let's look at the problem. You're behaving, try this medicine. In 30 days, does it make you feel better? Make you feel worse? You need more? We'll give you more. You good? We'll keep it. Okay. But when a kid is going through this whole crazy thing, they get traumatized with, they get diagnosed with a lot of different stuff.
Right.
But fine. The guy's
Also
a psychiatrist.
diagnosing someone who's on coke, diagnosed with bipolar,
and
is
mixing
hilarious.
stuff with stuff, and who's not sleeping at night, and who's not stable, is not a stable person.
Yeah.
So you really don't, but it's not their fault. They're not a navi. They're not a prophet. They're not they're not, people say, oh, they're just in it for the money. I'm like, I'm not judging anybody. They could be the most ehrlich people in the world. They have no way of knowing what anybody really has, only by the way they're behaving and by the symptoms that they're describing.
Right.
They can't do better. Fine. So you say, okay, Zoloft, and you take this thing and the thing, and this hopefully will help you. Let's see how you feel in a month from now. Kid might take it, might not take it, might mix it with alcohol, might mix it, might not mix it. It might feel better, might not feel better. Fine. You're doing the best you can. But why not also say, by the way, parents, if your kid really feels that you love him, that'll probably help out a lot. You know, if you took your kid to Disney World, if you put fun in their life, do you know that if the kid is constantly having fun, that'll help out your kid a lot? How come you don't share that? How come you ignore everything that we've been doing? You don't want to believe in it fully and say that most kids don't need medicine, and you want to pump up the kids with medicine and pump them up with whatever and diagnosis and therapies because you don't believe that we can heal the whole thing as we've seen just by love and everything. Fine. But if you're doing whatever you're doing, also tell the parents. Tell them, by the way, your kid's going through a hard time. You know what will really help them? A lot of unearned fun. Take them on vacation. Give them a hug. Say, I'm with you. Say, I'm proud of you. Say, I'm not judging you. Say, I'm not looking down at you. You know, if a kid is physically ill, Jewish people in physical illness are a match made in heaven. Any physical illness, no parent will not know exactly what's wrong with the kid. No mom is going to make a mistake and give a kid who has, let's say, a stomach problem and is allergic. They're never going to, by accident, give a kid something they're allergic to.
Right.
We're the best when it comes to physical illness. And here, parents say, oh, my kid is DDHD. They don't even know that ADHD. They don't know what it means. They don't study it, understand your kid is going through a hard time. I had a parent that reached out to me. The kid's going through a really hard time. So I helped them a little bit, whatever. I said, refuah shalema. They started crying. They said, I didn't realize that I need a refuah shalema for my kid. I said, you didn't realize your kid has much worse than fever? If a kid has fever, you say refuah shalema. Your kid is depressed. Your kid is not functioning. Your kid is dropping out of life. Yet what they do when they're depressed and they're going out of their mind, I don't care. They're doing this thing. They're always going to do something. I call them emotional infections that go to somebody who's broken. Yeah, all of a sudden now, all of a sudden comes the boyfriend, comes the this, comes the dating apps, come the drugs, come the party drugs, come the cutting, come the tattoos. It's all because they're in so much pain.
Yeah.
If we can get a syringe and inject, I always tell this to the parents, I wish we could inject their pain into our veins for 1 minute. We'd be screaming on the top of our lungs. We'd be going crazy. And by the end of the minute, half of us would have cuts and tattoos and bangs in our head from smashing our head into the wall. And we would all be making very bad decisions with our life. Because that's what it's like in our dart today. To be in so much emotional pain, it's going to pop out somewhere.
Right.
And it brings destruction.
So, okay, no, just to get back to the question, just
One more thing.
love what you said.
One more thing. God does not give somebody 5 different illnesses. If somebody has a stroke, God forbid, okay, Hashem gave him a stroke. He has a heart attack. Okay, he has a heart attack. God forbid someone has yana machla, terrible disease. Someone has kidney problems. Someone has a lung problem. God doesn't give all of a sudden one person lung, kidney, cancer, right? God doesn't give somebody 5 mental illnesses. Kid is depressed. Depression is a mental illness.
Yeah. No, I'll tell you, I went to a psychiatrist once.
Oh, it's good. I'm really happy. It's about time you get help.
Nah. Me and my problem with medicine, I'm worse than you. So
I'm pro-medicine.
I am not pro.
I am pro-medicine.
All right. So okay.
Let's put that on the list of stuff to discuss. Why I am pro-medicine and when it should be used and how it should be used.
Okay. No, I want to get to other things.
We have so much to talk about. Oh my gosh, it's going to be a 12-hour podcast.
I go to a psychiatrist.
Everyone's sleeping probably.
And the guy says, it's not live.
I know. They're going to be live when they watch it. Hopefully, at least when they start.
They'll be live. Okay, so the guy, I go to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist says to me, hold on 1 second. I'm in the middle of a podcast. Is this an emergency? What is it?
You got to step out?
His parents didn't take him?
You're here live. Watch this. Saving lives.
So could you
got to go? Do your thing.
Yeah, I think where are his parents?
Where are his parents? Where are his parents? That's the bottom line. Where are his parents? TP parents, you guys rock. Your kids never are not with your parents. They always know that their parents are there for them. That's the nakuda. That's the bottom line. You're either there or you're not there.
Okay, so what? Okay, so you got to call Javier to look for him. That's what I think. We have to find them. I'm making that call. You're not getting through, Sean?
Okay, so we're going to say Tehillim now for this person who they're calling Javier for. And again, I'm very proud of the work we do.
Speaking to the parents?
TP parents out there? When's the last time we called Javier?
Okay, thank you.
With all the stuff we're doing wrong, terrible, when's the last time we called Javier? Is there a kid missing? Do we have to say capital Tehillim? Shir hamalis memakin karasicha adinei adinei shema b'kayli. Tianos nacha kashuvas l'kol tachanuni. Im avainis tishmar ya adinei miyamikim chasich l'man tivari. Kivis adinei kivsa nafshi v'lidvarei hechal tinafshi l'adinei mishamim l'abaiker. Yachel Yisrael el adinei kim adinei hachesed. V'harbe imay fidus. V'hu yifta es Yisrael mekol avainis sov. The Nesiv Shalom says, V'harbe imay fidus. Hashem has a lot of salvation. We need it. He has it in stock. I'm just thinking how grateful I am.
Wow.
My phone is off Shabbos and Yontif. I can't think of the last time that parents of mine needed to call Chaverim, call Hatzadik, Avi Mendelitz. I remember years ago, there was one kid that was missing in the beginning, whatever. The kids are calm, kids are home. We know where our kids are. Remember that commercial?
Yeah.
It's 10 o'clock.
Where are your kids?
10 p.m. Do you know where your kids are, right? Do you know where your kids are? Yeah. TP parents, they know where their kids are. That outweighs no matter what enabling you think it's not supposed to. Whatever. Your kids know they can rely on you. You know where your kids are. They're in your home. I don't care what they're doing. In your home is a million times better than out of your home. You agree or disagree?
I agree. I also have never found a good justification for kicking your kids out of a home at any point. And I've dealt with the hardest of the hard, and I still haven't figured out. I haven't found the case. So
what I do is
I'll let you know when I find the case.
By working with the parents, we de-escalate the situation, and the reason that they want to throw them out, that they have to, goes away. So when a kid gets 5 mental illness diagnoses, you know what I tell the parents? What happens if somebody gets 5 physical illness diagnoses? Check the immune system. This person is falling apart.
Right.
If a kid or anybody gets 5 mental illness, he's bipolar, by the BPT, they start taking out the stamps, He's ADD, ADHD, OCD, ODD. Everybody's ODD. All these kids are ODD, right? Oppositional defiant. Yeah, because he's sick and tired of you not understanding him and looking at him with eyes that I'm so sorry what you're going through and I'm here for you. Of course they're going to be defiant to you, trying to get them to push them to be normal when their leg is broken and you just can't see it and you don't believe in them. Of course they're ODD. Anyway, DDD, MPT, MP3, JFK, every single ABC, everything is XYZ, everything is being stamped. Check the immune system. It's trauma.
Yeah. Well,
why
I agree.
Yeah, why don't the
you
professionals...
You want to hear another question?
No, I just want to ask, why don't the professionals also say...
I really hope they find this guy.
In addition to the therapy and the psychologists, and in addition to the medication, here's what you could do as parents. And by the way, there's no medicine in the world to take away the pain that my own parents don't like me. Not love, like. They don't know what love is. They don't care. What do I care how many people are going to cry at my levaya? That's what they've told me. They love me, but they don't like me. They don't like who I am. They don't like the child that Hashem gave me to them. Even puppies, they know that parents, that dog, they like them. Even animals, they like. And my parents don't like me. I had a very good friend of mine, a Home SWEEEET Home kid, who became very close to me and my family. And one day he said, Avi, my parents don't like me. And if my parents don't like me, that means that I am not likable. He had so many people who liked him. But my parents, it's a constant feeling, I am not likable. And then he tried to kill himself.
Well, you're doing the same thing, but I just call it like creating worthiness. Like we're going to surround you with, if you're BPD, like they say that, the only way to survive, the only way to get better is you're surrounded by the 100 people who keep disagreeing with you. You're like, no, you don't love me. No, you don't love me. No, you don't love me. I say, we love you. We love you. We love you. And we have to do it as a tag team because they punish everybody. And you got a tag team. Let's go. We love you.
Here's the thing with my experience is that when you do TP on a BPD kid, they forget to be that way. And now they're calling it neuroscience is coming up with, oh yeah, you can create positive neural pathways in a person's brain. So they're not the same negative person who feels so unloved, not just by saying it, by showing it, by doing it. I have a whole process. And usually within a very short time, most of these things evaporate at the very minimum. The parents are like, wow, our house is calm. Best thing for the other kids, by the way. And then over time, it's like they're getting off all the stuff.
So let me
They
ask
don't
you about
have
the other
stuff.
kids.
Is that where we're going?
Yeah.
Is that the next question? Because that's a long
It was
answer.
one of them.
Well, I like the first question.
I know, it was a good question.
Yeah, it was a good, very good question. The answer is I don't. I don't diagnose kids. I teach the parents through
It's a
their
great
eyes
question.
and their
Why
ears.
is the halachah not enabling? It is.
It's totally
All right.
enabling as much as humanly possible. Hold on. The halachah is to enable as much as possible. The fact that someone is asking the question, which most normal people would say, shows that we think that enabling is a bad thing. It's like that's the aside. Enabling is bad. Why could it be good? But who says enabling is bad? I want these kids to be enabled by mommy and tati. I want them to have every nice gadget from their parents, because someone who feels that way from their parents gets the feeling that I am loved, gets the feeling that I'm worthy. They have inside of them unbelievable amounts of undeserved pain. You can give them undeserved love. You can give them undeserved fun to outdo their destruction of their summers, that they couldn't just have a great summer as a teenager in camp, and all the nights that they couldn't sleep well, and the nightmares, and they're not falling asleep, and not wanting to live, and not wanting to get up, and not being able to have your pride shooting out of your eyes like their brothers and sisters. You know how much that hurts, especially a sensitive kid? You owe them that. But there's nothing to be proud about. They need that. They need that vitamin. You find a way, and I teach parents how to do that.
Right.
When you shoot your pride in a kid, better than any medicine. You don't, the kid feels my parents don't like me, there's no medicine for that. That's a lifelong disease. My parents don't like me.
I know that people that are deep in their 70s and 80s are still wanting their parents to love them.
Right.
I've dealt with people that were like in their deathbed wishing their parents loved them.
What a shame. All the parents had to do. And why didn't they do it? They didn't do it over stupidity.
A lot of parents think they're doing it, by the way. That's an interesting thing. They think, what do you mean? I got him this. Like, he has a bed. What do you mean? He doesn't think I like him? What?
Let's talk about spoiling. Should we do that?
Isn't that the same thing we're talking about?
No. Kids don't get spoiled when you give them things along with love. They only get spoiled when you...
Well, I have a little chilek on one of the things you do. I don't know if you do it, but it's one of the things people have asked me. I say, oh, so it means you give them everything they want. And I said, if you give them everything you want, you already missed it.
Right.
That's what I say. The way I have this pictured in my head
It's really not
is
that
that the
complicated.
goal. What?
It's really not so complicated. People
No.
like can't wrap their mind around
No, but
this.
the
What?
way I
You
have
can't-
it as a goal is that we're trying to increase worthiness. We're trying to increase. They believe they deserve to be loved.
Yeah, use
now,
your,
if they have
use your
to,
words. Use your words. I like your words.
they're good words.
Yeah, this
So,
is good.
I'm going to use these words. I believe that if I walk over to you and manipulate you to give me things, you're already lost.
Right, 100%.
Because now,
100%.
you're doing that because I made you.
Right.
So you just reconfirmed.
Right.
But what if parents are watching and go, ooh, looks like he needs a new car. He needs a new this. He needs a pack of cigarettes. He needs this. And I give it to him. Oh, here you go. I want to tell you something very funny. I'm going to tell you something very funny, and my son's going to kill me. But...
Okay, I'll match it with something that my son will kill me also.
Oh boy. No.
Let's go, spill the beans.
Okay, so I have a son, and he smokes cigarettes, and he's under 21. And I get him cigarettes. I just get him cigarettes. Can't get cigarettes. He's wonderful. He's amazing. Not Kip, whatever you call it, but I'm saying I'm helping him out. It's what he wants, right? And I love him. And we caught Avi Fishoff.
You call it what?
We caught Avi. Oh, you Avi Fishoff me as cigarettes?
Avi Fishoff me?
Yeah.
Is that a verb?
It's like a verb. You Avi Fishoff cigarettes? I think for the first year of it.
That's very cute.
And I'm like, wait a minute.
That is funny.
I'm Sonny Perlman. I also, this is not just Avi Fishoff.
I'm Sonny Perlman. I said enable
I
before.
Sonny Perlman you.
Sonny Perlman. That's very funny.
Anyway, I had to tell
So
you.
I had a kid who was smoking.
Yeah.
And I took him in my car in the bungalow colony. We went outside and he had a cigarette with me. And he turns to me and he says, I'm probably the only teenager in the world who sneaks away from the other people to go smoking with his father to not get seen by everybody else. He didn't want anybody else to know that he's smoking except me. That's a father. Let's talk about this. Is there a statistic that if you tell your kid, I'm going to kill you if you smoke, that they don't smoke? Is there a statistic that says that kids who feel that their parents are going to break their cigarettes and rip up the thing and show them a black lung that they quit? No. Why do we keep doing stuff that doesn't work? His kid needed to smoke. I smoked with him. I made sure that he went ahead and then he quit.
Yeah.
So we have to start being smart. I consider this, like I say, there's chachma, there's wisdom, and then there's bina, which is understanding. Wisdom. There's a lot of very smart people who can't understand anything. You got to go straight. They don't know how to twist. Bina is to understand that, no, I can get the job done this way. And it's not manipulative in an evil way. My kid needs me more than I will gain by not giving him this. There's things at play. I can't be black and white and say, well, I don't give my kids cigarettes. Okay, I got news for you. I have a tremendous statistic of kids quitting cigarettes. And that's not even on the list of stuff that parents come to me about. And I have constantly, it was very funny, his parent just told me, my kid is such an idiot. I'm like, what happened? He quit smoking, and I just got him 3 cartons. They smoke, they quit with the cartons lined up because when they can, they will.
Right.
And that's not even something I'm against. Hundreds of kids that quit weed. I heard that people send their kids to rehab for weed, and they pay who knows what. Are you kidding me? That's ma'aseh b'chol yom. Every day kids are quitting weed when their parents come to me. And it's not me. It's the chip inside. You call it filling up the gas tank. There's a chip missing inside of worthiness.
Right.
Give it to them. Give it to them. So nebuch, when a kid falls, the things that they need are so terrible. But now that they need it, your choice is you provide or you don't provide. If you don't provide, you abdicate your job as a parent to provide. But how could you provide? So here's an example I give. Imagine, chas v'shalom, there's a kid that believes that dirt tastes good. So the kid believes that dirt tastes good. He's eating dirt, eating dirt, eating dirt. You talk to him, you say, really, the truth is, why are you talking? Any normal person knows dirt. When they're 8 years old, they knew 6 years old, dirt isn't good. So something's wrong. So I could save you a lot of time. That's why I tell parents, don't talk to your kid. They don't need information. They don't need to know that this is bad and this is not healthy. They know all of that. They know how you feel. It's not helpful. There's no statistic that it's going to work. I say, you want to bet $10,000 that you're going to say, well, believe it or not, he kept on going. I don't know why. I gave him such a good argument. It doesn't help. Threatening is even worse. Rejection is even worse. But even talking nicely and saying the facts of life doesn't help. Okay. So I say, give him dirt. Because that sick person who thinks dirt tastes good now feels provided for. And now he's not as sick. And that's the road for him to heal and realize, I don't want to eat dirt anymore.
It's hard to understand. I will tell you something. People that are not dealing with it.
Sure.
I wouldn't even say that. I would say lots and lots of people that are dealing with this have a hard time swallowing this dirt.
They should continue doing what works for them.
Right.
And I'm going to continue doing what works for me.
Right.
And for picking up the pieces on all the people that come to me who used to go to them. I don't think I have that many people that leave me and go to them.
We used to have a funny thing. Chaim Glantz used to say this because we used to have this tough love program that was happening somewhere. I'm not going to say where it is because it might be located. And they were like real tough and this and that. And Chaim would say, it's good to have it because then they really love us.
Right.
Because they get here, they know what the specialness of what we is. Let them beat them up a little for them to come back.
I get parents, now I'm getting smarter parents who say, why do I have to go through all of that? But in the beginning, especially, I had parents who for years paid so much money to people and they followed that advice. They did that perfectly. It didn't work. And by me, they were very wildly successful. Listen, to the people who are questioning, first of all, I have a lot of respect for them. Do what works. You're happy with your success rate? Do it. Why do you have time to even worry about what somebody else is doing? I'm happy with what I'm doing. But the Rabbanim and the people who know me and people who are following are so impressed because it's not so impressive. I focus on the kid should feel my parents are providing for me. And then they don't need to steal. They end up staying in the house. I get this all the time. I get parents for years who were doing the wrong thing. Wrong for their child, because they ended up coming to me crying. How many psychiatrists they paid, how many psychologists, how many therapists, rabbis. I had one Rav, very chashuv Rav, by the way. I one day want to ask him in a gentle way, but I can't get myself to be gentle about this, and I'm not an aggravated, agitated kind of guy. But I want to ask, he told the parents to lock the kid out of the house. A 14-year-old. The kid didn't even have a hair thinking about growing on his stash.
Right.
And he said, he's so rotten, he's not even worth your tehillim. I said, oh my God. He should say, I feel like, unfortunately, we have to amputate the kid. Now is the time, lady, to take out a tehillim that he shouldn't get who knows what, traumatized and raped, and he should survive this. Why don't you even realize the danger? Even if you feel that it's right, it's not worth your tehillim. They came to me a couple of years later. They were sent by Rebelli Brudny, Shlita, and Rabbi Yosef Elephant Shlita. What do they call it? T9 when you're dropping names? T9,
Right.
T4, right?
T4.
What's T9? Oh, T9 is when you used I used to text on the thing and fast it popped up. Anyway, T4, right? I'm dropping,
T4
name
is
dropping.
the big thing.
The kid is Briskapeus now. He's two from. And he's healthy and he's alive and there was no reason for it. No, you don't have to bust in and break the device. You just don't have to. It doesn't help. You know, it's like the thing grows, you snip it. It grows, it snip it. You grow, it snip it. No. Let's figure out what's bothering the child. You can never fix somebody with control.
Right.
Even if you're matzliach to control them, which they're not. I had parents before coming to me, they went to 64 people. You know what that is? 64 people to tell their story about their daughter, to cry, to commiserate. 64 people. Then Reb Chaim Kanievsky Zatzal gave them a bracha to come to me. So I'm not...
Another T4.
Big one.
Name dropping.
Name drop.
I
big,
love it.
Big, a good bracha also. You know, I'll tell you...
I need to ask you this question.
Okay, but I'll tell you one Reb Chaim story, and then you could ask me. Because I think this is important for people to hear. Parents came to me, and their kid was very, very, very bad. It was one of the worst situations. They used to go, when they called me, they were walking over to the door to see if they smell a dead body. They didn't see the kids. He locked it from the inside. He would sneak out once in a while for food. They don't know if he's dead or alive.
Right.
Absolutely horrible. By the way, these are not people who never listen to advice. These are not horrible people. These are wonderful, smart, intelligent, good Ehrlich people who paid tons of money that they didn't have. And this was the result of that advice.
Right.
I'm just too busy to ask people, how come you say that and be anti-people? That's not my style. I'm just doing my thing.
Right.
But I know who gave them that advice.
Right.
Okay. So one day it's going to be like the files. We're going to open up all the bad stories with everybody's advice. Anyway, they went to Reb Chaim Kanievsky and for a bracha to come to me. And he said, Refuas HaNefesh, Refuas HaGuf. No, I'm sorry. I messed up the story. Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
oh my gosh. Cut. He said, Refuah Shalema. He said, Refuah Shalema. So their uncle, who they sent in Eretz Yisrael, said, okay, thank you. But what about his Yiddishkeit? He's not from. Could we have a bracha that he should become from? Reb Chaim said, Das is Chayla Nefesh. Refuas HaNefesh, Refuas HaGuf. In English, this is Chayla Nefesh. This is a emotional sickness. Again, I bless him with refuas hanefesh, refuas, so he should feel better. It means that he didn't agree to give a bracha even after he was reminded. He didn't say, oh yeah, and he should be Erlich. He is Erlich now. When someone has 105 fever and they're in the hospital on a coma in a respirator, they're not from? They're from. They have so much going on, they can't function. These kids are from. This is what I've seen. They're Machal Yom Kippur. They could even say, I hate God. They could say anything they want. They're as from as me and you. Dip us into years of pain in our brain, we will say the same stuff. So Reb Chaim did not agree that this kid needs a bracha for his Yiddishkeit, even though he was eating on Yom Kippur. Because this was a result he saw in his tzidkus, right? He saw that the kid is sick. If we stop looking at these kids as rebels and off the derech and never talk to them, it makes them build a shita. Like you say, Yom Shabbos, what, you don't believe in Torah? No, I don't believe in Torah. Great, you just created a shita now. But God gave us the Torah. You don't believe in God? No, I'm an atheist. Oh my God, we have an atheist.
Right.
Another atheist. You know how many atheist parents?
You're creating the atheist.
Right, don't talk. Someone's sick. Just let them be. Heal them. And all of a sudden they can come back and they can behave. And if they're not rejected in the name of God, we're rejecting people in the name of God, in the name of Torah, against God and against the Torah. The Torah says to do one thing. We're being humans and messing it up and saying, I'm embarrassed and you can't go outside, like all the stuff in the name of Hashem. And then they hate Hashem and they hate Torah because it was used as a baseball bat, which is really the question you should be asking me, which is to talk about the Yiddishkeit part of it.
It is one of the questions, but
okay.
I don't know if I'm going to have time. There's a whole like search party going on my phone.
Let's just fix something real quick.
Yes.
Do you find dealing with thousands of kids who were Machal Shabbos, who went off the derech, who knew what Shabbos was, who grew up from, do you find that any of them, that their problem is not Gashmius, it's not Nafshius, they just have a Ruchnius problem? They're just spiritually corrupt. They can't be from because of spiritual reasons. Have you ever met that kid?
They can't be from because of spiritual reasons?
What does that even mean? They're healthy,
means.
They're happy, they have a good life, they don't have pain, they weren't traumatized, they weren't abused, they just don't want to be from, they just have a spiritual crisis. Have you met that kid who went off the derech and abandoned this world of our from world and left the parents and went off the derech only because of a spiritual problem?
I've only seen people go off the derech because of an emotional problem. I've had no experience. I have many people that have told me it's from logical reasons or other reasons, but it's always been, this doesn't feel yummy. I can't do this.
And they can't do anything.
Right. There's a lot of other things they can't do, but it is more painful to be from than to not be from, sure. And that's pretty much where it comes down. And then there's a lot of logic behind it. They will back it up with a ton of logic afterwards. Of course,
very few of them can even admit that this is going back because at 8 years old this happened and it made me feel. Instead, they just say, "I never felt it. I didn't feel connected. I felt different." And then the really smart ones, right, will become atheists and will deny God and will prove it to you because He is invisible. Can I tell you a statistic?
Yeah.
I've had easy 50 parents come to me with
You're
kids.
never going to let me ask my next question.
Well, I have so much good stuff to tell
I
you.
know. Okay, go on.
Indian Baisa Indian. I've had at least 50 parents.
Yeah.
It's much more, but at least 50. That the kids were open atheists. Open. No God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I believe today there's 0, but let's say there's 5. Let's just we'll exaggerate the other way. Okay. We'll call it a 90% success rate. That those atheists are no longer atheists. And guess what? The parents never spoke to them about religion. And guess what? They never got any answers to their questions. Where was God in the Holocaust? Where was this? Where was that? Was that? Because we have the same questions. But that was never the problem.
So let me ask you a question. Okay, so I'll skip over my other question and we'll go over to another question I had, which was, someone asked this, which was, is becoming from part of the success rate? When you talk about a success rate, is like that's what really matters?
Everything matters.
They've come from?
Everything matters. To parents who are from, they have to be alive. My bracha to parents is their kids should be alive, healthy, functioning, happy. Yismach lev, mavakshay Hashem. It's the same exact medicine. In other ways, I've spoken to a therapist, speaking to him, and he says, so let's put Yiddishkeit on the back burner. But he's not a mensch. He's not behaving like a mensch. So I said, who are you to put Yiddishkeit on a back burner? What do you mean Yiddish? We don't care about God. We don't care about Torah. We only care about doing your laundry and making your bed. He says, yeah, but he can't do that now. I said, right. He also can't make his bed now. Because the same dysfunction that is making him not able to keep up with Yiddishkeit, which is be'etzem supposed to be yummy, and make you feel beautiful and wonderful and loved and beloved and connected to Hashem. It's all good stuff. If it makes you feel achi and yucky, that's the same reason why they're also not functioning. So don't put anything in the back burner. In TP, in my view, it's the same medicine. It's never one before the other. It's not I love you more than God. God tells you to love the kid. It's not that I'm going to provide for you against Torah. It's the same Torah. It's the same thing. I've never found it to be a crossroads. It's one thing. You are my child. Do you know what that means? It means that when something happens to the kid, you will cry. Cry now. Hug now. Laugh now. Love now. Show that kid how much he means to you, even though he's like that. And we have a way to do that by supplying the bad. As long as everybody who comes to me, we can talk about Das Torah, which is also such a misunderstanding. I'm the only one that has Das Torah. Nobody else requires that every family comes to me needs a letter from their Rav. Plus, they sign a shtar that they're not going to do anything. Any other therapists do this. They sign a shtar, each parent, that they're not going to implement anything without checking with their Rav. I'm constantly on the phone. Today I was on the phone with a family in Mexico with their das Torah. Don't do anything without your Rav. And that's what I've been saying and doing and preaching. Anything that happens. Could I this? Could I that? I said, I'll tell you what you should do if your Rav lets. Let's get them on the phone. Because I want the parents to hear from their das Torah that they're doing the right thing and it's Ratzon Hashem. There's no reason to go against Torah in the name of God.
Right. Oh, I love that. Okay, so the question about this is the thing that I've heard, I will say the most as criticism for my method and your method more. Because I'm a little quieter about my stuff. And the question is, great, you're helping the one kid. The rest of the kids in the family, what about them? They see all this chaos and all this allowing, and how does that affect them in terms of screwing up the rest of the kids?
So first of all,
by the way, I have answers, and I'm glad that you have to answer it because it's fun. I have you on.
Yeah. Happy I'm here to help you, Sonny.
I'm not saying I don't have answers. I just these are the questions. So let's have Avi answer them.
So first of all, if you ask people who are in the field like Sani, they will consistently tell you that kids who are going through chaos, fighting, is absolutely the worst thing for the other kids. It's not like we have one mahal. Oh, what's the other way?
We kick them out.
Yeah. So the first
bad apple out.
Right.
That's
so
what they say.
Let me give this introduction. I don't get paid by kids off the derech and kids at risk and kids on drugs. I don't love them more than I love the regular kids. If I would help save a kid and hurt 4 kids, 5 kids, 8 kids, 12 kids, I would never do this.
Right.
So if I started giving advice and I saw that the other kids are getting negatively affected, right, for real, not what people see and people think, because a lot of times we see kids that have multiples.
What?
That have multiple kids with challenges, multiple
Sure.
kids. And people don't know why. And we know why. But people don't know why.
Right.
So, I know what it looks like. But if I saw that, this is hurting other kids, there's no way in the world that I would sacrifice one kid. On the contrary, my experience has been, and it's backed up by whoever's been following me and following the families like the Novominsker Rebbe's, I'm not saying it als das Torah, which he is. So sein gesund. He's been with me from the beginning. I'm not saying it out. I'm saying as experience of sending me family after family after family and writing a letter. Avi has helped many of the families who have come to me that I've sent to him. We've done really, really well with those people. I have other Rabbanim that their families are all very happy. I met we're T4ing, right? So I met Reb Zalman Rav Satmar. Both Satmar Rebbe sent to me. And they each have a dayan that's in charge of the parents who come to me to make sure everything's done al pi Torah, which is beautiful. I set that up.
Right.
I saw him and he said, Shkoich for the Tisfar and Sibber. Thank you for what you're doing for my community. I'm helping his parents that have this thing. We have such a great success.
So what happens to the other kids?
Okay. So first of all, we have a tzara. We have a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we have to realize that you cannot throw a kid out, delete the kid. He's going to come banging on the door at night. It takes time to even delete the kid. And that year or two of friction is right away. It's not like everything is perfect for the other kids, but maybe now we have a risk. Why don't we identify the other side? How many times are people throwing a kid out and then another kid goes off the derech and another kid goes and they lose their respect for their parents? We can't ignore the fact that keeping a kid who's different and who's struggling at home, besides we're going to get to my way, we can't think that the other way is great for the other kids. Psychologically speaking, professionals say that by throwing a kid out, it's terrible for the other kids.
Well, because now they're concerned. Does if I misbehave, my parents don't love me anymore, and now they have the conditional love feeling.
Right, but I also say until that happens, you know how many times the father's running around screaming and mommy's crying and the other kids are failing in school because of that? I had a TP parent that went and called me up on a Thursday night. He said, I just went into my friend's house. He called me, get over. Their daughter was coming down the stairs, okay? She's wearing a mini skirt, no socks. He says, you're not leaving the house that way. She says, get out of my beep way. He blocks her. She punches him. He blocks it. He throws her down. The mother's on top of her, holding her hands. The father's holding her legs. He says, call, and the older kids are on top of the the thing. So the guy, he calls this guy, he tells the parents, call him. He comes over next door. He's from Shomrim or Etzala or whatever it is. He comes in, he says, Avi, this is the scene that I saw. Okay, this is happening constantly in this family. It doesn't just, Monday they misbehave, Tuesday you kill them, you delete them.
Right.
Because then you would just have the problem of the kids feeling, whoa, I mess up, they throw me out. Fine, but it's not. It's months of this fighting and the screaming and the yelling. What does that do to the other kids? He says, I walked in, it was like a Holocaust. The older kids were on top of the stairs because the parents were in the middle blocking her, and her feet are kicking and screaming, and she's cursing, and they're cursing her. You're going to burn in hell. You're going to burn in hell. And he says, there was a young kid, about 3 years old, who opened up the door in the kitchen cabinet and was standing behind it with their eyes peering out. This is a normal house? This is a normal way? Daddy's screaming all the time, mommy's crying all the time, or mommy's screaming all the time, and daddy's crying all the time, and every Suda ends up in chaos, and you know how many times the father or the mother overdoes it, and the kids are like, just leave her alone. Why do you keep getting angry? Why do you keep getting upset? And a lot of times they don't see things the way the parents do. You know how many fathers, I know this from you guys have, there was a whole article about this with Chaim and so many other people. You know how many fathers are like, usually the father is very, very tough. Some mothers, but usually fathers. And they're like, I answer anybody from talking to him. And they talk to the kid behind the thing. They think the father's nuts. Deal with it. Deal with it. You don't know how to deal with this? You can't tolerate this? Deal with it. I have homework. I have friends. I have family. I don't want to, they'd much rather come into a happy home with their friends. Even though it's embarrassing, I understand. And they have a sister that's not dressed properly or a brother that's not wearing yarmulke at the Shabbos table and everybody's laughing. They'd much rather that than I can't bring my friends home because this place is crazy. The tension, you're screaming, and then what happens to the kid? He gets worse. He's slamming doors. He's smoking in the room. I don't have rebellious behavior. So before we talk about what about the other kids, what about these kids? You know what it's like to live with a teenage rebel in your house with Shomer being called and Atzala being called, and the parents don't know how to deal with it because they care about the other kids. So they're tough. That's caring about the other kids. I'm going to be tough on him because I don't want them to see that it's okay. You just told me before that nobody ever went off the derech because it was okay. It's only pain. So it's not an allergy. So instead, they're traumatizing the other kids. Somebody said about a family that came to me, oh, they went to Avi and the second one went off the derech and the third one went off the derech. So they said, yeah, but what about the guy across the street from me down the block in Borough Park? And he did not go to Avi. And he threw his kid out, and the second one went off, and the third, what about that one? By us, we understand that sometimes there are multiples in a family that are hurt, and the parents can save them. I got a call from a Lubavitch family. I'll never forget. They had 13 kids. I mamish remember where I was. The first one went off the derech and was involved with drugs, smoking weed, and whatever. They threw him out of the house to save the other 12. They threw out number 12. They threw out number 11. They threw out number 10. They threw out number 9. They threw out number 8. And then when it came to number 7, they said, hang on, we have more kids out of our home than in the home. These kids were multiple abuses and interfamily bad stuff that happened and trauma, and they're throwing out kids to save the other kids. Said, you know what? Let's bring in these 8 and throw out the 7 good ones. I don't know. What are we throwing out kids? I want to tell you, Mamish can give you their phone number. You can verify the story. Speak to them. I just spoke to them this week. All their kids are back. Healthy, happy, from. You don't lose other kids by saving. The other kids today, especially, they understand mental problems. They understand pressure. They understand depression. Kids today are very savvy with these things, and they want calm at home. You don't get that by throwing your kids out.
Oh, so what about, okay, just.
Now, before I want to give you it's really a 2-hour answer. I'm just going to try to.
Oh, no. What about?
But they
I'm
asked
give
this
you the
question.
most extreme example.
They asked this question to Rabbi Yashiv.
Yeah.
Do we have to be smarter than Rabbi Yashiv?
I don't have to be. Maybe you could do it if you want.
He said, if you really are concerned about the effect on the other kids, send away the other kids to be.
Oh, I saw that.
By an aunt and by an uncle, by family, and take care of this one. We don't lose people. You straighten them out, you get things calm, then you can bring them back in.
Right.
What if a kid had, Rahman al-San, a physical illness, and you could heal them being at home, but the other kids might be contagious, or the nurses and then whatever, it's not the right environment. So you let the kid die? You metapel if you really feel that way. You know who else said that?
Who said that?
The Satmar Rebbe, the Divrei Yael. You know who else said that? The Lubavitch Rebbe. Shlita zil zayin gesund, zchus yagen aleinu. I don't know what people think if he's,
We'll do that on another podcast.
That's another podcast. You know who else said that? Rabbi Gershon Edelstein Zatzal, the Reshiva of Panovich, who's a Talmud of Chazon Ish, and Rabbi Yashiv. 4 Gedolim said, if you're really worried about the other kids, you still can't throw this neshamah out. Put the other kids in safe places and take care of this one.
So, just to push back, what about if that kid that we're trying to help, that Kip, is the abuser of the other kids?
Yeah, you can't have them home.
That's the only time, right?
That nobody gets hurt my way.
Right.
You can't allow somebody to hurt anybody else.
Okay.
You have to heal them and make them safe.
Okay.
Again,
that was the one that
again,
was,
I just want to say the question is be'etzem, not a good question. It means that you think I'm psychotic, not you, the questioner.
Yeah.
You think that I'm going to let somebody molest other children means that you don't understand who you're dealing with.
Right.
You don't understand that I'm not here to hurt people. I'm not meshugana. We don't hurt people. We save people. The same thing, people who question Sani. You don't know who you're dealing with. You're dealing with a golden mensch. You're dealing with a golden person who's using his experience to save people at nobody's expense. The other kids, steig. Is it an asayan? It's a big asayan. It's a big challenge for the other kids. And we teach them how to be Aymed ben asayan. You know who teaches them? Mommy and daddy.
Yeah.
When daddy can walk out with a girl who's not sanua, then the kid knows what to say when his friend says, is that your sister or your housekeeper? Is that your brother or your sister? Why is your brother wearing a shaitel? It's very painful.
It's a great
Be Ayman bin Asayan. Show the kids we have a great life. I brought these kids into my house. I didn't have to.
Right.
My youngest was from 4 years old till 20 for those years because we'll figure out the ages. And they saw stuff. And they said, how come these guys leave the table on Shabbos after every course? And you know what I said? They're very health conscious. They like walking in between courses.
Yeah, they're getting their exercise in.
Yeah, they believe in between every course you got to go out. And then they would look and they would say, oh, why is she smoking? Chaim smoking. And I would say, yeah, kinderlich. Some people don't appreciate how beautiful Shabbos is. And we're going to show them.
Wow. A part of me wants to disagree with a whole bunch of things and we could get into a good fight, but I really don't disagree.
Oh, Sani, come on, bring it, baby. Bring it.
I don't have it. The problem is, okay, this I want to say. I want to say this. This is not what I dreamed of happening with parents, you're doing. I spent so much time working with the person who's getting hurt, and I've always said we need an hour place for the parents.
Yeah.
We don't need an hour place for the kids.
Yeah.
We need an hour place for parents. What we're doing is mopping up all the cases that the parents aren't doing this situation because it happens at home. Now, I do think, and you're proving me wrong on some level, that it needs more than the parents, but maybe you're not because you bring other people in.
No, but I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind. My job is to give them parents. I never tell parents, don't go to a psychiatrist. He doesn't need medication. I know.
I'm not talking about psychiatrists.
No,
I'm talking
anything.
about uncles, aunts,
Oh,
grandparents.
first of all, I do a family's. No,
Yeah, I know.
It takes a village.
Yeah. So
I bring in
to me,
everybody.
it needs like...
Oh, everybody, come join. I do family meetings all the time. I just did a family meeting today. I did a family meeting yesterday. I did a family meeting on Monday. And I meet the family together with the Rav. Always.
Right.
And I encourage them to understand what the parents are going through and to be a part of it and connect to this kid. You don't have a right to be an aunt and uncle and you have a nephew who's dying in a hospital and you don't visit him. And here, you're not just visiting him, you're the medicine. Take him out to a ball game. Take him out somewhere. Have fun with him. Show him that he matters. They're going through really a hard time. But I don't spend time with my other kids. But this one's different. You're letting your sister and brother have, brother-in-law, whatever, have this kid and you condemn. You know how many parents tell me how much pain they have? They're trying to save their kids. They're trying to help their kids. And family members criticize them. You don't have this problem. You don't have a solution. And you're criticizing me? You're not supporting me? What are you doing? Reb Shmuel told me, Shmuel Shlita, my Rosh Yeshiva told me, Mibsarcha al tisalam. It's a lav in the Torah to ignore your relatives. If they're poor, you have to give them money. If they're sick, you have to get them medicine. If they're in pain, you have to make them smile. You have to make them happy. You can't say, I'm busy raising my kids. I don't want the influence of all this fake stuff. I had kids saying words at my Shabbos table that are not found in any Zmiris. Yeah, and I told my kids, we don't say that word. What about your kids? Yeah, I tell them, you could say it, but we don't say those words. Those are bathroom words. And when they got older, of course, kids can curse. We think that but if they don't hear it, they'll never think of it. Yeah, people do stuff that we don't do. Let's show them how beautiful our way is. And you know what it did to my kids? It made them really believe that our way is right. Our way is good. Our way is full of chesed. We don't think we're better than anybody. B'li ayin hara, it was so important for my kids to see up close how much pain these people are in, and to be appreciative that they're not in pain, and to be Aymed bin Hussein, and to know that they can trust their tati, and to know that there's nothing that my kids could tell me that I would blink, nothing that I can't handle, nothing that I haven't heard a million times, and nothing that I would ever abandon them about. If they killed someone, I would bury the body.
I agree.
That's what parenting is all about. Kids don't need parents. They need parent. I'm sorry. Kids don't need parenting. They need parents.
It's amazing. I was on a podcast and they asked me like about this, like how far I'd go with my kids. And so I said, like, in every like mass murder case,
Right.
you have like this one mother and she's sitting there all shriveled up and she's like sitting there like defending her kid. And everybody in the whole courtroom just hates this person. And I said, I want to be that mother.
Yeah.
I want to be that mother that sticks with my kid no matter what.
100%. But here's the thing. If you have a mom like that, you don't become a mass murderer.
That's true. Well, she's hanging on. Okay, so final question.
Okay.
I do want to go forever, but I will tell you, my head is a little bit concerned about this guy.
Everybody should daven.
I don't know what happened. I thought I had it all buttoned up. Look at that. Imagine I'm not in charge of everything, and it's out of my control.
So many people. No, you got to be there for them.
I'm going to be there, but I have no control. I thought I had it all good.
But you know what? Actually, you're the best person to validate what I'm doing, because how many TP parents have kids in our place? How many of those kids come in and feel like I have no place to sleep and I'm homeless? How many of them are robbing banks or hurting people or doing anything bad or selling drugs? I mean, you know from the street that my parents are not, their kids are not there. Their kids don't need any of these organizations. And I love and I support them. They just don't need them. And if they need them, gesund to hate. I never micromanage. I say, you just do you. Mom, dad, give them parents. But they end up not needing.
I will tell you, I know which
Nebuch, if you're
which kids become the TV kids, because all of a sudden, bunch of guys in our place are going to visit his house.
Right.
They all go, that's the best place to be. These parents are nice to the kids.
Right.
All right, the last question.
And by the way, what ends up happening a year later is that those kids our kid gets healthier and stops hanging out with those kids, and on his own volition or her own volition says, nah, they're not really whatever, because at home I have my big TV, I have my parents giving me, massaging my feet, making me feel good. I call it massaging the nefesh. Your kid should see pride, like. They should see coming out, shooting out of your eyes. It makes them feel good to be around you. Then you take them on vacation after vacation, show them the world, because they don't have a life. They don't have any sipuk. They don't have any satisfaction. They don't have davening. They don't have friends. They don't have anything that they're being successful at. So give them sipuk hanefesh, emotionally feeling satisfied and good in this world. Okay? Carry them through these dark years. You're carrying the kid. I think of parents holding their kid. The fire is blazing. There's glass everywhere, and they're carrying the kid through fire. That's what these parents are doing. They're holding their kid until the kid gets strong enough to walk on their own. And at the end of the story, you know what the end of the story is? When the parents become old and frail, the kids will carry their parents. Kids take care of their parents who are there for them through thick and thin.
Yeah, that would be nice.
That's what happens over and over again.
I look forward to that in my life. If I'm able to take anything from anybody. I'm nervous about that when I get old. The final question is the rooftop question. Top of the rooftop, you're going to yell one thing to the world, but the whole world hears it. Could be the Jewish world if you want, but like mom just gets out there. What is that yell to the world that you just want everybody to hear?
Your kids are not bad people. no matter how much bad they're doing. They need you to believe in them when they don't believe in themselves. Don't let anybody allow your heart to turn away from your child, no matter what the kid is doing. The worse they are, the higher the fever, the more they need the medicine. And the only medicine for any spiritual problems and any psychiatric problems, psychological problems, and emotional problems is parents who believe in them and mamish make them feel good to be around. Same way a kid comes home with 100 or 110 and you're just beaming. This kid needs it also, needs it more. Find out how to do that. Let somebody guide you. Learn not just to love your kid. I love my kid. How to use the love that you have for your kid to save the child. Parents see their kid floating away and nobody tells them. What did you do to help the kid? What we're doing is emotional CPR. Every TP mom and dad, every parent that's out there is doing emotional CPR on the kid. First, you have to have access to the patient before you do CPR. So you have to learn how to have a connection. You have to make them feel comfortable. You have to apologize for the things that separated you. Something unnatural happened here if you can't look in your kid's eyes and they don't look at your eyes and they're shying away. That's not natural. You got to fix that so you can have access to the child, and then you could do emotional CPR, pumping them up with your love, with your belief in them, in the way that they will accept it. And that's different for every single kid. And getting them to want to be with you, and then spending time with them. And then the medicine is fun. The medicine is fun. Their life is in the toilet. Medicine is fun. I always say the kids are going to bring the FU. You just got to bring the N and go have fun with your kid.
Ooh.
Okay? And then when you do this, the kid calms down. So the same family that we were so worried about the other kids because things were so terrible and the kid's cursing, he stops cursing. He's able to, he's walking around on his own. Okay. And then the clothing starts to come on. He starts to be more natural, more normal. It's the best thing for shidduchim. I have so many stories.
What does
to
it mean,
share.
the best thing for shidduchim?
Best thing, you know that people don't want to be mashadach with families that throw out their kids. Family came to me about a kid. They threw her out. And then afterwards they came to me and they brought her back in and they were doing TP. They had another girl, came back from seminary, top girl. And I'm going to end with this. Okay, this will give food for thought. She got engaged to a top boy. After the Vart, the father is sitting together with his new mechutin. I guess he waited till after it was official. And he says, "Can I ask you a question?" The guy says, "Sure." "Did you know that the Kala has a sister, that I have a daughter that's completely off the derech and not, He says, "Yeah, I did." "It didn't bother you?" He says, "To tell you the truth, it did." And I called her Steinman. Moran Harav Aaron Leib Steinman. I called her Steinman. I told him, it's a really good girl, but family has a girl who's off the derech. I don't know if I want to be mishadach with them. Reb Aaron Leib said, in our dar, this is already 10 years ago, in our dar, you cannot blame any family for having a child who goes off the derech. It happens to the nicest parents, to the most stable families. It happens, we used to think it's just, people used to say dysfunctional families, Rosh Hashivas, everything. You cannot hold it against the family. But here's what you need to check. If the child is disconnected from the family, do not do the shidduch. If the child is a part of the family, do the shidduch. You can't hold a child's behavior against the parents, but you can hold the way the parents react to it against the parents. Parents that disconnect from their child, let the child float away. Gershon Edelson, the Shiva Panovich, says that if the kid's not at home, the parents are over lifnei iver sitin michshel, because all the averis the kid does by not being home is your fault, because you needed to have the kid home. You need to learn how to do it. That's fine. You need someone to guide you. That's fine. Kid needs to be home. Rabbi Aaron Leib says, parents who will let their kid disconnect, you don't want to do shidduch with them. The father burst out in tears. I have his original recording. He let me record it. Wow. I changed the voice afterwards, but I have a recording. The father burst out in tears. He says, "Avi, I thought I was coming to save my daughters off the derech, but this kid wouldn't have gotten the shidduch if I didn't bring my troubled kid back home."
I have no response. I was just really happy you came. That's beautiful.
It's an absolute pleasure. I really
so
think
amazing.
I think Klal Yisrael owes you a tremendous debt of gratitude, and everybody should understand that there's a small group of people who actually know how to fix the problem. The questions are all good, except the questions that you think that the people helping are psychotic and we hurt people and we don't care about anybody. Like, well, why would I not care about the other kids? I have over 8,000 siblings that are under my care. Why would I not care about the other kids? It's difficult, and we deal with them, and we train. It is a terrible time for everybody. And part of what I tell the families is, besides for helping with the kid in pain, take out the siblings. I tell the aunts and uncles, hug your brother and sister going through the problem, and take care of the siblings. Take them out at night. They're going through a hard time. They're entitled to be grouchy, and tell them you're amazing. Tell them this is what the Baal Shem Tov said to do, which is true. This is what the Chazon Ish said to do, which is true. By raising royalty, I have hundreds of stories. Rav Pam said to do this. We have to be smarter than Rav Pam. People would ask Rav Pam, what about the other kids? You don't care about the other kids? Rav Pam said to do this.
Did you ever see the letter Rav Kook wrote? I don't know if you ever saw his letter. I found it in like an old book, like in the back of like a, I don't think it's so not famous, but I found it like that, like in an old crusty like bookshelf. I was reading the letter, so I don't know what the letter came into Rav Kook. I don't know what the letter was, but you could discern what the letter was by his response letter. His response letter was, I don't care what these, how great you think these rabbanim are. I don't care if they're the biggest tzaddikim or whatever. There is no other reason. There's no other way to bring someone back besides for ahava. If they tell you something else, they're wrong. That was the answer. I don't know what the question was.
I haven't found anybody that says different.
Yeah.
Just people
It's
get
such a beautiful
people
thing.
get people understand that the Baal Shem Tov and the Chazon Ish specifically say that only love brings back, and it's too long to get into now, but the problem is that people start putting in their own, well, I can't show love. If I show love, why should it get better? And what about the other kids? They're going to get confused. They start, if you're not experienced with this and you're dealing with this in your house, there's no way that you could be experienced, because parents we don't even get trained to bring up healthy kids.
Right.
You're not supposed to know how to deal with crisis. You go to someone like Asani, like Akiva, your brother, such a big fan. Go to anybody that doesn't go, you know, the thing. Those guys are mean people. Go to people who smile and are chilled and they're happy. Go to these people and you'll see we're all saying the same thing. And what Ahava can do, there's nothing in the world. Nothing, not for a healthy kid, not for a not healthy kid. Shmuel Kamenetsky Shlita, again, he told Chaim Wolf, who did a video for me, he said, what do I do if my kid does something bad? He said, you give him a hug and tell him what he did wrong, what you want from him in the future. But what if he doesn't listen, he does something bad? Give him a hug and tell him what you want from him in the future. He says, what if he does something really, really bad? He said, give him a hug and tell him what you want in the future. He says, but isn't there ever a time you got to give a kid a patch or a punishment? He says, there's nothing that a punishment can do that a hug cannot do. This is not a 40-year-old person. He's over 100, Kanai. He's a zaken. We can trust. Anything that's causing you to behave differently than the Yogimel Midas Harachamim, you are failing your challenge and you make your kid worse. We only have the ability to use the Yogimel Midas. Only Racham, Chan, and Erech HaPayim. That's it. Learn Talmud Devar. 5 minutes. You could learn a chapter, and you learn the chapter every day of a week, and you add on, and you build up on that. Spend 5 minutes. I give a share on that. It's on YouTube. You can download it if you want. You can watch it on the podcast or on whatever. We only are allowed to do Racham Chan. If we all did the Yud Gimel Midas Rachmim, we would have no problems today. But the kid might have problems, but we don't have problems. The kid would be enveloped in so much love. It would save. I'm telling you, I know families that have done this from the beginning with their own intuition, emotionally wise people who understood, and they never got the huge, crazy thing, which was for sure best for the other kids. As soon as the kid was struggling to get up in the morning, they didn't throw water at him and rip him out of bed and say, whoa, the other kid, why should he get nothing? They saw he has fever, emotional fever. If someone can make an emotional thermometer, I'm willing to pay $1,000. Invent an emotional thermometer, because we would see, oh, he has 104. Of course you don't go to school today.
I have an
shameful.
emotional thermometer.
Yeah, what's that?
Doesn't make his bed. Something's wrong.
He's not functioning. He's not functioning, but
Yeah.
they need to see a thermometer. They need to see fever. They need to see something physical. I told parents, imagine your kid had chas v'shalom, a little thing in the brain, a little brain tumor that's making the same behavior. What would you do? You wouldn't fight him. Don't fight him. But you need help. I understand. It's a crisis. Just like you need help to learn how to throw out a kid, you need help to learn how to embrace him properly, that the kid should be baked into him that I have self-worth.
I'm stopping there. I love you, man. Thank you so much. That was the greatest thing ever.
Thank you for this day that I've been given. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this chance. Thank you for this chance to live anew.